That's what it says on the show. Here, back at night, I did mornings. I did afternoons. I've done weekends. And here I am back on the night show with you till 11 o'clock tonight. What's up, YouTube fam? You can watch us on YouTube tonight. You can chat right in. You just go to YouTube, search 98.5 The Sports Hub, subscribe, right? And then create a screen name and you can chat it up. I like to read the chat. You know, it's like a real group in there. You know, support group, I would say. So thank you all for hanging out. Of course, you can call into the show at 617-779-0985. And, well, the opening take is sponsored, and it's presented by Super Service Today, Massachusetts' #1 provider for residential and commercial plumbing, heating, cooling, and drain cleaning, day or night, always done right. Visit superservicetoday.com. So much to get into. Red Sox ongoing. I did want to start with Brad Stevens and what he said tonight. There was a press conference today for the team. And I'll kind of break it down real easy for you and then give you my take. But Brad Stevens on his expectations for next season. My expectations are always the same, said Stevens. Compete like hell to win the next game. So I will tell you this just off the bat. I've soured on the Celtics. It might have been because I believed in them so much, thought they would go back to back, and then they tapped out against the New York Knicks. That might have something to do with it, but no, they have now blown up their team. 3 players already elsewhere. Al Horford could be next. We'll get into that. And no Jason Tatum. That would be 5. 5 of the 9 gone. So you mean to tell me that it's championship aspirations? No. Instead, it's compete like hell to win the next game. Brad Stevens on the trades, and the reason for the trades, he mentioned it was the second apron. So just tell us it's the money. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you telling me that it was about the money, because that's why they blew this thing up. They blew this thing up because of the money, the money, the money. But he's very high on the players they got back in trade in Simons and Niang. He also says he likes who they brought in free agency, Garza, Minot, etc. Did make mention of some of the players on the team have never been in a retool situation. Well, that's because for the last 10 years, the Celtics have been in the Eastern Conference Championship conversation every single year. They've gone to 2 NBA Finals. They've won 1. They had a chance to go back again this year. They didn't. So, yeah, guys like Peyton Pritchard have never experienced this. Jaylen Brown barely has ever experienced this besides his opening year. Most of these guys don't know what it's like to be a middling NBA team. Brad Stevens also talked about the future of Al Horford. Quote, I'd say that's unlikely. So it's been at least reported that Al is considering retirement, Denver, or the Golden State Warriors. As for the roster, Brad Stevens also said that center won't be highlighted on paper as the strength, given what their players have done in their career, says it's on them to prove that otherwise. So they're going with a big man by committee. Oh, what could go wrong? What could go wrong with that? Also, on Joe Mazzulla, Brad Stevens says that they want Joe Mazzulla there for a long time, which I assume is him when he says they. It sounds like he's got multiple years remaining. Maybe there's a contract extension on the way. Whatever. They're going with the Mazzulla ball. and maybe making some tweaks this offseason to it. Another thing that Brad Stevens emphasized today was maximizing Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown's windows together. Quote, "Since I moved into this role, my entire role has been making sure we maximize around those guys." So, I look at it and say it's not their goal to get under the luxury tax, but they had to. They also would probably need to shed another $54 million to get under both taxes, or both aprons, excuse me. So I think they're fine with paying a tax. It's the aprons. So realistically, if they wanted to reset the tax and not pay an apron tax this year either, they'd have to unload again $54 million to do that. I think it's going to happen. Now, one of the things he did indicate was that they are happy with where they're at because of their future assets. If you saw yesterday, the Drew Holiday trade got tweaked because of some of the medicals on Drew Holiday. Well, there were 2 future second-round picks coming this way to the Celtics. Those ended up staying with Portland. Now, I get it. Second-round picks are being tossed around like crazy in the league, but multiple second-round picks can help you move up in the first. You can trade second-round picks for first-round picks or just buy the picks. That's how that league works. It's about being a math problem. That's what it's about. So I think they need to remove 3 to 4 more players if they do get under that. So is the roster set with where they're at? It can't be. But Stevens did mention some things about Simons and Niang. We'll get into that on the other side. But they have many more moves to make here. Maybe they are waiting things out with some of the other players, or if any trades move. But they mentioned being flexible and flexibility. And, for years, one thing with the Celtics was when Danny Ainge was here, they always had up-and-coming players. They always had enough future picks to move, and when someone became available, they were in on it. Now, at the time, nobody wanted to play for the Celtics. That was a fact. People didn't want to come to the town, so it didn't matter if they had 3 first-round picks or could trade great young players. Now, though, Tatum and Brown, I think that's what they're waiting for. I think they're just going to wait and see. And I don't know if the wait and see approach is always the greatest thing, but they're not in a rush to get back into contention. And maybe that's a good thing. I'm sure some Celtics fans will look at it and say, well, we knew this. I don't. I want competitive basketball. I want this team to compete for a championship. That's what I want. So that's why I'm down, and that's why I'm sour on the Celtics and what I heard today. Now, I do want to see some players develop. I do want to see some guys get playing time to see what can happen. But realistically, as the roster consists, they're not a championship contender. And since they're still at the second apron, think about that. Still not a championship contender. So realistically, people, the Celtics could be moving on or will not have 5 players from their championship team. They're going to run it back with 4 of them next year. And they want to preach flexibility. Just don't tell us it's not about the money. Because that's why you made the moves. And yeah, maybe you'll pay a tax. Maybe you will. But you're worse because you wanted to save the money. And when you look at the entire conference right now, you had another chance. There is no clear-cut favorite in the Eastern Conference. There isn't. And as Jason Tatum's in a boot, where, again, Brad Stevens wanted to remind everybody that that's their biggest issue, and Jaylen Brown coming back from a knee injury, we're just supposed to sit here and wait for them to make some sort of financial move to get back into contention? Maybe it's the right approach. Maybe it's the smart approach. I just look at it and say, just don't tell us it wasn't about the money. Because now, with Al Horford moves on, and Jason Tatum isn't here, that's a whole different looking Boston Celtics. We'll leave it there at 617-779-0985. Did want to get into what Brad Stevens mentioned on the priorities, some of the other takeaways, and we'll let you hear from some of the sound. We'll get Skaz's thoughts as well. And, well, what about that center position heading into the year? Have you ever heard of a by committee before? I heard it in another sport, in basketball. We'll get into more of that coming up next. I'm Joe Murray here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe. You're listening to
hard to trade guys like Drew and Kristaps, but there's been all the talk of like financial situations and aprons and luxury taxes. I'm curious how much the second apron penalties came into those two trades, as well as luxury taxes, because you guys have been a second apron team for 2 years before this.
I mean, the second apron's why those trades happen. I think that those are pretty obvious. And the basketball penalties associated with those are real. We've all talked about that. And but we were fortunate because we liked the guys we got back, and I think that that's one of the things that we are excited about. But yeah, like Drew Holiday is I think he stamped his Hall of Famer candidacy here, if he didn't already have it. And we'll look forward to watching and again rooting and following him from afar. But he's as good of a person as you could ever have in your building and as part of your team. And KP, he fought some of the stuff health-wise in the last 2 years, but when he played, he was awfully good, and we think he'll be awfully good for Atlanta this year. And so again, yeah, those are not easy trades to make. Those are not easy phone calls. Obviously, those guys have been around the league a long time. They knew the CBA. They knew that was a high likelihood that they could be part of a move, and they were communicated that before. But it's still hard when you are. But again, we will miss them, and we're thankful for them.
All right, back here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. Back here at night. Back on the night show. Feel free to call in 617-779-0985. Did you hear that, everybody? The penalties are real. They made the trades because of the second apron. I'll give you that over-under for the Celtics win total this year. Not sure if anybody caught that one. I'll get into that coming up a little bit later on in the show. Just, I'm back. So, Skaz, hi, Skaz, how are you? I'm here, you're here. And I already have someone saying, wow, Joe, this is funny. Because Skaz, if I said to you, hey, man, you look tired, man. Is that just another way of me telling you that you look like crap?
I think it's often interpreted that way.
Yeah, because some guy in the chat was like, Joe, looks like you need a nap. But I did nap. I don't know what day it is. Is it when? What's today?
Today would be Tuesday, Joe.
Okay, great. Yes, I have been waking up at 4:30 every day because I did mornings last week. I did do the afternoon shift yesterday. I'm doing the night today, afternoon tomorrow, and then the night again. So yes, it is a little confusing, but I was well rested today. But I just thought it was funny that it is two things. When you text somebody, you say, hey, do you want to come? And then they say, who's going? That's one. And then the next one, and we can make a list of this too, but the next one is, hey, you look tired. Looks like you need a nap. Is that do I look like crap? I thought I'm a handsome man. I thought my beard looks pretty good today.
Yeah, I thought you looked pretty good, Joe. You got a little tan going, yeah.
We prepared for the show by 2 o'clock.
Joe, I was getting Slack message you during the show last night.
That's right.
You were ready to go.
I've been ready. I'm ready to unleash the fury. Skaz, you heard Brad Stevens today. He told us it was because of the second apron why he made the trades. So they've made all the trades, Skaz. They're still at the second apron. But, they saved lots of money. Lots of money. But don't give me getting out of here has nothing to do with the money. No, it has everything. They made all the moves and they're still at the second apron. So today I'm pissed because they're a worse basketball team. I don't know how you came away with today.
I came away from today kind of, I don't know where I've been, Joe. Nothing the Celtics have done this offseason has surprised me. We were told for months, years, it felt like even that this was going to happen. They were going to, have to shed salary. And it's not a Bill Chisholm thing. If Wick was still the owner, they were doing this anyways. That we were told that when they went in on Holiday, when they went in on Porzingis, this was all going to happen. So I think the reaction, it is what it is. I do think the Tatum thing, magnifies it and gives them more of an out. But I think they were
in a boot.
In a boot.
To remind you again.
In a boot. I saw him in the pool. Look good. Doing some.
Love water exercise.
Makes me nervous though. It's like it feels early. Like take your time. Take your time, Jason. We need you. But yeah, I mean, the Cornet thing has been a little much for me, I would say, over the last couple of days. Very nice player, very good player, but I had to listen to everybody tell me how bad he was for the last couple of years, and now they're awful because he's gone. I don't know. It seems like there's a lot of talking out of both sides of the mouth when it comes to the Celtics right now. They lost, a guy who was never on the floor in Porzingis, I was told constantly, and Luke Cornett, who was wildly overrated by Celtics fans.
Drew Holiday's washed.
Drew Holiday was good. I'm not going to take anything away from Drew Holiday. He's an elite player. Yes, but I'm just saying from, the people that say Luke Cornett was awesome, and then, other media members saying, well, he's terrible, and then Porzingis was never out there. So how big really is the loss? I'm not sure. I think they needed to get younger. I think they needed to get healthier. They can't do the Tatum and Brown, 80 games a year at 40 minutes anymore. That's not going to happen again. So nothing they've done surprised me. The way they did it surprised me a little bit. I do think the Holiday trade being kind of reworked is what they're calling it or whatever. Losing those picks is somewhat of a bigger deal than maybe people think.
I still like the deal because they didn't have to give up anything.
Yeah, I still like the deal. I would say it's still a good deal, but it's not the Brad Stevens fleeced him or you got a great look at Brad doing it. No, it was a basketball trade. I feel bad for Drew that he has to go to Portland now. That sucks for him, but I know we both took different things away from Stevens' comments today on Simons. I'm sure we'll get into that at some point.
We'll get into that in a little bit. It was interesting. His commentary, I took it differently than you did. But just real quick, I'm on the side where, they're not going for a championship. I'm sure there's maybe some chip on the shoulder of some of the players, and they'll probably be better than I'm saying they will be right now, or maybe what odds makers think for that matter. Like, could they win close to 50 games? Maybe.
I think 43.5 is the line. I think I looked. There are 13 teams with projected higher win totals. I don't see the Celtics being the 14th best team in the NBA next year. I think they're going to be a top 5 seed in the East.
Okay.
So
we agree then.
Yes.
So we agree that they are worse today. It's because of the money. And after all the moves that they have made, they're still in the second apron and still have the same penalties. Yet, they don't have a big man, which I'm sorry. I can't believe this, but I was trying to write out. This is why I need the whiteboard in here. But I was trying to put who would be the starting 5 right now. Do you want to know what I wrote down? Trey's laughing already. I got Peyton Pritchard at point guard, Derek White at 2 guard, Jaylen Brown at the 3, Hauser at the 4.
No.
No. Do you get what I'm saying here? And I got Kate at the 5? Because I don't know. You mean it? What is this crap you're going to give us? I know Jaylen Brown's good. Derek White's good. Peyton Pritchard can play. I get it. Sam Hauser, 3 and D. Okay. I get Simons coming off the bench. Whatever it is. Could it be still Hauser and Pritchard off the bench? Fine. With Garza? I don't know. Why not? They're not a championship contender, and that's where I stand today. But I am curious what other fans think. Like, there are other people like, well, we knew this was going to happen, Skaz.
Yeah, it's kind of where I'm at.
We knew this was going to happen. No. Like, you made all the moves, saved all your money, and you're still at the second apron and your team stinks.
Yeah, but do you want them to try and win a championship this year? Because I don't.
Well, no. Remember, my take originally was don't play Brown or Tatum. Get back into the lottery.
Yeah, that's a little strong even for me, Joe.
But this was hindsight now because I said that when the season ended.
Yeah, I think it's a totally different. If Jason Tatum is fully healthy and they're doing this and not adding, anything, that they lose all those contracts and aren't trying to win a championship, then I have a problem. Then I have an issue with what they're doing because they have to maximize the Tatum and Brown window. But everything they're doing, whether fans like it or not, they're setting themselves up to still maximize the Tatum and Brown window. It's just the next year. It's very Red Sox of them. Guys, just wait until next year. That's when we're going to do it. But the reason I don't treat it as the Red Sox, because the Celtics have actually done it. They've actually spent to get, and you could say, oh, well, that was last ownership. Well, I can't, it's not one of our, commandments, but you can't penalize them for something that they haven't done yet. So
I've heard that somewhere before.
I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt because they have done it. Brad Stevens has gone above and beyond for guys and won a title and paid out contracts. So I'm okay with them not shelling out $40 million for Luke Cornett so that they can, lose in the second round in a year where Tatum's not out there. That does nothing for me.
I agree with that. But could you have kept Porzingis and Holiday and still be at the second apron where you are today?
Saying I was done with Porzingis is strong, but with Tatum and Brown and now the injuries, you can't rely on a guy like Porzingis anymore. You could do it before because they were younger, healthier. You had the roster.
They were deeper too, yeah.
They were a deeper team. You can't do that anymore. You're going to have to rework it. This is going to be like when the Warriors went through, their rework. This is what happens. It's going to be your core of Tatum, Brown, and White, and then you're going to have to mix and match the pieces around it.
I just got Gabe in West Roxbury goes, wait, I thought Drew and Porzingis took them under the second apron. They can't win a championship this year. Why not reset? So, now granted, just so people know this, they have until the trade deadline to unload some players. If they want to move on from Simons, they can trade him. They can do that. They can trade George Niang, who's in the last year of his deal. They can trade anybody, really, at the deadline. So, me saying that, look where they are today, second apron, blah, 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 I'm just trying to relate it to you could have still had Porzingis and Holiday without Tatum, and really you'd still be – okay, let's say they kept Porzingis and Holiday, guys. Where do you see them in the East without Tatum?
Three, probably,
okay, so
yeah.
5, so 3 to 5, save all the money.
And now you're 5.
I get it. It's just that.
Oh, no. That's what we want. The people that say, they should have kept Horford or Holiday and Porzingis, that's what you've been clamoring for ownerships to do for a while. Spend on guys just enough to make them slightly above average, but not actually championship contenders. Then you're the Bruins. Then you're very good in the regular season, but it means nothing. I would rather the Celtics, punt is strong, but give up on the season also strong, but basically that's what they're doing, so that when Tatum's healthy, you actually go for a title instead of being good in the regular season.
So I originally liked that idea. Now I'm back to being mad because they're not going to win a championship. I don't know what it is, but I'm now scared, Skaz, that it's not going to be 1 year. Forsberg talked about it last week on NBC Sports Boston, how maybe it would be 2 years. Imagine losing 2 years of the prime of Brown and Tatum.
They can't afford to do that.
Yeah, they can't.
No. And if Tatum and Brown are healthy, you're not losing a year.
So you're a believe in Brad guy?
Yeah. He's given me no reason not to yet.
Okay. Believe in Brad. You should make that graphic, Trey. Believe in Brad with Skaz's face.
I'll have to hear everybody talk about how great Mike Vrabel is before he's done a thing. I think I can believe in the guy who's actually won a title and swung some trades.
Skaz, I don't think you should be dismissed on this. I have feelings in this discussion. My feelings are, they're not going to win a championship. You know what, Skaz? I'm sick of meaningless games. I'm sick of them. All we've had was the Celtics. For how long? The last 10 years?
Every year you could bank on basically an Eastern Conference Finals.
For 10 years, we had the Celtics to lean on to.
Even the Bridges were fun.
They were fun. And Brad was a big part of that. Brad.
I think Jaylen Brown's being a little disrespected. I think he is. He's a top 3 player in the East, top 4 player in the East.
Can we get into that?
Sure.
I have some sources on the ground today that got a little one-on-one with Jaylen today. I'll tease that as we get into the headline here. I'm Joe Murray. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
All right, Brad.
number one option, quote unquote, so to speak, for next season. Have you communicated that with him? What's his reaction to that? And, how is he embracing that role moving forward next year?
I leave all those communications to Joe. The way that I look at a basketball team is we all bring our strengths to the table and then we function together. So everybody has a huge role in it. There's no question that Jaylen will draw the most attention and that Jaylen will, I think thrive in that. I think that you saw him several times, and you saw him in certainly the few games in the playoffs where we had to play without JT, and I thought he did a good job, especially those 2 home games. And I think that he's ready for any challenge. He always has been. And, I'm excited to see all these guys, take a step up. Again, I'm excited to see the chip on their shoulder. I think that's, I think we've always had it. I think it's always been we've had a competitive group with a competitive mindset. But we've, maybe had much higher expectations or some higher expectations. So I'm excited to see us get ready to go. And Jaylen.
617-779-0985. That was Brad Stevens on Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown was at Canopy Lake Park today doing a pop-up for his 741 brand. And I know there was some people I know that were there. And I come to find out, George Niang and Jaylen Brown, well, they got into it a couple of years ago. Maybe you guys know that. Remember the little scuffle they had on the sideline there, Skaz?
Yeah, he held his leg or held his arm or something, right?
I guess they're workout buddies.
I mean, it would make sense if Niang comes back in the summer. He works out, around the facility, around the guys.
Yeah. So I heard that today, and, I was saying how Porzingis was his buddy. I know we had Noah on, and she said maybe it was a little overblown, their relationship, but I was thinking with the Lillard stuff that came up and, Bradley Beal's name being brought up, I just thought, could the Celtics really be cost-cutting by maybe going with a lot of Jaylen Brown guys? No, excuse me, Jason Tatum guys. And what would that mean for Jaylen Brown? So, Bradley Beal, I'm out.
Out.
I'm out.
Out on Dame.
Dame, I'm only in because of the money. Not as far as a fit, culture, any of that. I'm just not picking and choosing on talent. So
he's going to be 36 when he comes back, though.
I get it. I the only reason why I like it at all is because he's affordable. That's it. Everything else I question. So I'm in. If they wanted to offer Dame Lillard the minimum and let him work out with Tatum and they can both challenge each other, and great. I don't know what it does for you long term, but great. But I was thinking about Jaylen Brown and if he's the guy, and does he have any guys because White's Tatum's guy, right? Mazzulla is a Tatum guy. I just was curious at one point what all that meant. I am curious about some of the other acquisitions as well and their relationship with the players. We'll get to that in a second here. Again, the phone number here is 617-779-0985. We'll take calls. Let's start it off. Let me pull up my call log. We do have Logan. He is in Burlington. He's joining us here on 98.5 Sports Hub. Logan.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey.
I just want to say, Skaz, thank you for giving the new ownership the benefit of the doubt. You're the first person I've heard say that this would happen no matter what. If
let's be
he was
fair.
the owner or Rick was the owner.
He didn't say ownership. He said Brad.
I thought he said Chisholm.
I said ownership.
Oh, so you are? Okay,
yeah.
Oh, so ownership and Brad.
Well, I'm just. This would have happened whoever the owner was what I said.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Because I don't know.
I
Remember
believe
Steve
that.
Pagliuca said taxes.
Yeah, it's easy to say it, Joe. It's easy to say
listen, I'm going by what he said.
And also, I think that the whole second apron talk, it's the beginning of the offseason. This is not the Celtics roster the same Celtics roster that will be on the first day of the season. They'll have a more complete roster. I don't think Anthony Simons is going to see a second on the floor for the Celtics because Brad Stevens says he wants to get under the second apron. We're not there. He's going to make more moves and get us there, and hopefully get us a center along the way, too.
Us. Thanks, Logan. I appreciate you. Well, speaking of Simons, when I listened to Brad today and he talked about the acquisitions, it felt like a sell. And what I mean by sell is how are they? He never mentioned how they're going to help us. Us again, as the caller mentioned. Let's hear what he said about one Anthony Simons who came over from Portland.
Well, I just think one at a time. I think Anthony is a guy that people out here probably don't see as much because of the time that they play. But his ability to score, his ability to shoot the ball, make really hard shots is pretty elite. And you look at a guy that's 26 years old that's averaged 20 a game for 3 straight years. I think he's a really good player, and I think he can get better, and that's a big part of it. And then,
did he mention anything about how he can help the Celtics though?
The second half of that cut, he talks about Niang.
Yeah,
bringing
which
him
he
in.
likes and says he's tough and it's tough to defend and stuff like that.
Has the most wins in the NBA over the last 5 years.
But never mentioned how they can help them. That's at least what was my takeaway. You didn't feel that way, guys.
I hear Brad Stevens talk about a guy that scores 20 points a game 3 years in a row, 26 years old. We think he can get better. To me, that's Brad licking his chops. Like, this kid has never had a culture in Portland. He's never had structured coaching or real veteran leadership. Where you DeAndre Ayton and an upset Malcolm Brogdon out there. I'm sure there was some other. I can't even remember who's been on Portland over the last couple of years, but not exactly a well-run basketball team. So I think Brad looks at that and say, "Look, we're taking a swing." Derek White is unique. He's not going to be a Derek White. Derek White is elite defensively and has really turned his offensive game around. But if you can have Simons, who's a very good offensive player, just play okay defense. Because right now he's as bad as it gets at defense pretty much in the NBA, but it's an effort thing. It's a coaching, it's an effort thing. He's 26. He's never been in a winning culture. To me, that's Brad saying, look, this is what he's going to have to do now. When you have Tatum, Brown, this is what the Warriors did with, Pods and the other guys that they've tried to build around there, bringing in, Wiggins, who was kind of an afterthought at the time, but look how that turned out. He was a different scenario. They're a top 5 pick, but I'm just saying that this is how you're going to have to build the roster. You're going to have to take swings, and I think Brad sees the upside in a guy like Simons.
I like Simons. I think he was the best player on a really bad Portland team for 7 years. Then they got Scoot Henderson, Sharp, and then they were retread. They had a bunch of retreads, right? Ayton, as you mentioned, was there. So they moved him to the bench because they wanted to see what Scoot could do. So that's why when I gave out my lineup, I had Simons off the bench as maybe that guy with Pritchard playing a little bit because he can defend better. Pritchard's a better defender.
As of today, yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. To that caller, though, I like Simons. I just think because of the money, he's going to get dumped. He's got to be extension eligible, right? He's in the final year of his deal.
That's where the problem comes in, too, because if you don't extend him and he plays well this year, he's gone for nothing.
Yeah, for nothing.
So
you dump him at the deadline because you can't add anything.
So can you rework his deal? Do you trade him now? Brad's not done. I'm with the caller on that as well. I don't think they're done.
I get it.
I think Hauser's gone.
Okay. Hauser's gone.
That's just a thought.
So what would your starting lineup be right now? Today, if you had to roll out the balls today, who'd be your big man?
Niang, he's better than Tillman and Keita.
He'd be the center?
He'd be your 4, probably.
Yeah.
I'd put the rookie at 5. Why not? Send him out there. Williams. Yeah.
Sure, why not?
And then Jaylen, Derek, and Pritchard, I guess. Simon's off the bench.
Who else is coming?
Niang is much better than Tillman and Keita.
You know who I actually really think can be?
Well, Walsh, Davison, Shireman.
I think Minot's going to be a player.
He's solid, yeah.
I remember him from Memphis. He was never going just like Garza. They were the third. They were the third and fourth options. That Timberwolves team. Say what you want, they've been pretty good. Were they back-to-back Western Conference Finals? And then they just brought back Randall and my guy that I wanted there, Naz Reid. So, I mean, like, they're good. They basically have taken 2 players from that team that I think can help them. I don't want to analyze the moves too much because I don't love it. Like, this is believing in Brad Ball right now. Thinking, because Brad's always like Luka Garza, right? There's no question Luka Garza can put a basketball in the hoop. Can he defend? I think this kid might not at 6'8" and an athlete. I think he's a wing, Skaz. I do. But I think he can play that Tatum role at the 4. Like, I think he could be the hit. Again, star player in Memphis, right? Really just couldn't develop at all in Minnesota. I remember against the Celtics, didn't he have I think he had like a huge dunk against the Celtics, if I recall. Simons had 30 against the Celtics. Remember that game where I thought they were point shaving?
How could I forget?
Scoot Henderson at the end hit just a meaningless three.
That was pretty bad, yes.
So, there's a lot of gambling stuff going on, by the way.
Some questionable officiating I saw in the WNBA earlier today. A little Sky Mystic controversy, apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I'll extend this a couple more segments, but we know what's going on in baseball, and I will just I think that the people who don't understand gambling or are not in the know, you can bet on anything. Now, in Massachusetts, I know there's some books that won't allow you to bet, but bet online, you can do whatever you want. Bovada, I think you can. Hey, is the next pitch going to be a fair ball? Like, you can.
Oh, we had a little controversy with that over the 4th of July break.
Yeah.
You see those clips?
Yeah, that's not great.
Yeah, I mean, can you make it more obvious?
So I'll give you one more. Last night in the Phillies game, there's some this one I'd look at an umpire. And again, I love a good wrangle. Like, trust me, when the refs are involved, I love a good wrangle. Okay, everybody. But last night, some shenanigans went down in that Philly game, and quite frankly, I do think that it was very smelly. But Phil Cuzzy, he was the umpire. They did umpire scoreboards. There's a Twitter account called Umpire Scorecards. And last night, for the most part, Phil Cuzzy is a 91% accuracy guy. But they're saying last night he was at 85%. 9 of 61 called strikes were true balls. 6 of 99 called balls were true strikes. That all happened in the 9th inning last night. It's running rampant now. There's new regulations happening everywhere when it comes to sports betting. There's the big bill that just happened, right? I mean, I don't even want to get political on it. It's just that everyone's got their hands in on this gambling thing. And there's a lot of people who don't know what's going on. There's a lot of people that know what's going on and trying to find loopholes. And I just wonder, like, a player who makes under $1 million a year can throw a ball to
I mean, he was throwing him in the dirt. He wasn't really being too sly about it, but yes.
This one last night, though, look, I'll share it. This got sent to me by multiple people. Wrangle, Joe, look at this wrangle. Look at it. I wouldn't be surprised if today Phil Cuzzy gets a call from the league. Right? Because you know how a good player has a good weekend in the NFL, they take a drug test the next day. You know? Hey, you scored 4 touchdowns today. Go pee in a cup. Drug test. That guy should get his eyes checked. All right, well, this hour of the Sports Hub has been fabulous, everybody. And it's been brought to you by Valvoline and Oil Change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com to save 50% off an extra through oil change at Valvoline and Oil Change, the official oil change of busy people. I asked Skaz what his starting 5 was, and we have one guy off the bench. That's it. Believe in Brad. We'll do more of this. And Joe Mazzulla. What did Brad Stevens say about that? And Joe Mazzulla was on the Names with Games podcast. Is that what it's called? With Julian Edelman. We'll play some of that for you coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Fourth inning right now for the Sox. Brian Bayo on the mound. He's been hot. Very hot tonight, but no score at the moment. Celtics, Brad Stevens today said doesn't expect Al Horford back or likely to be retained this offseason. Did thank Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis for his time in Boston. Some other NBA news. Nikola Jokic has informed Denver he will not sign a contract extension this summer. And the NHL and the players have agreed on a new collective bargaining agreement that runs through the 2030 season. Headlines, they are brought to you by Super Service Today, Massachusetts' #1 provider for residential and commercial plumbing, heating, cooling, and drain cleaning day or night, always done right. Visit superservicetoday.com. I'm Joe Murray.
If you've got the app, you've got Toucher and Hardy to wake you up no matter where you are.
Or who may or may not have been to jail.
Get the app. The 98.5 The Sports Hub app.
I want to clarify something you said last time. You said Joe has multiple years left on his contract.
That's right.
And how big of a priority is possibly coming to an extension with him, coming to something long-term this summer?
We'd love to have Joe here for a long time.
Cap the Cliff Notes version of it all if you'd like me to. Because I even wrote my own Cliff Notes here. Made offers to Luke Cornett and Al Horford, unlikely to be back. The team is comfortable with the roster they have entering the year, but the door is open for more moves. Excited about the progress from Jason and Jaylen after surgeries, but not putting any timeline on Tatum. Thinks the remaining core will have a chip on their shoulder this season. Acknowledged repeater tax complications, but suggested the team is comfortable, at least for now, if only off the second apron. So they would have to free up, I think, $15 million. So there's your Hauser money right there, Skaz. So it could happen. It certainly could. But Horford's gone. But Mazzulla signed for multiple seasons. This current group right now, I am curious about Joe Mazzulla. Like winning a championship, I think you could have questioned what happened with him and the team and his philosophy, stubbornness, and did it cost him a playoff? It may have. It may have. So, do I think he should have been fired? No. But a lot was on the line. And if they did, I understood why, because of the money. Again. But going forward here now, are they going to change their philosophy? There's been a lot of talk about maybe cutting to the basket more and a copycat league of the Pacers and the Thunder. And they're trying to tweak some things. I don't know if you heard this, guys, at Summer League. They're trying to do some different things to get the players acclimated to the philosophy.
I have heard that, but just going back, you're saying you wouldn't have been surprised if they fired Mazzulla because of the money?
Because of losing.
What if it would cost them more to fire him, though?
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Like, to bring in a new coach, they're going to have to... No one's coaching... Like, yeah. I think they got lucky with Mazzulla and what they're paying him, probably, is what I'm saying. So that almost scares me into thinking, I hope they're not keeping him because of that.
Got it. So you're not looking at it as they only kept him because... If they're only keeping him because the money, that's scary. But if they didn't fire him because of the money, that's also scary. But it sounds like they want Mazzulla here to develop the players.
And I think this is the year of Jaylen Brown and all that, yes. But I also think this is the year of Joe Mazzulla. You're going to find out if he can coach, if he can really coach, Georges Niang and Anthony Simons. And, it's not Tatum, Horford, and, Porzingis anymore and Jaylen. It's a different roster. It's a different task.
Is this Jaylen Brown season or is this Joe Mazzulla season?
I guess in that context, I would lean more Mazzulla because Jaylen's not going anywhere. His contract's set in stone. He's not. We know what he is. He's in, Finals MVP. I think it's more about Mazzulla.
Well, let's be fair. He does not. I shouldn't say he doesn't like rookies. He doesn't play rookies. Do we ever play the stare down between him and Shireman? We don't have to do it. But you heard that story, right?
Yes, yeah. I'll have to do some digging and see if I can find that.
Stare down for 45 minutes. Joe Mazzulla's been on the record saying he thinks that rookies should only contribute. They shouldn't be a part of what you're trying to do. So, do I think any of the rookies could make an impact? Maybe a big, but no. Realistically, no, I don't. But they did bring in guys like Niang, who's been on good teams. Garza was, at least player of the year at Iowa and will replace Cornette. So, and this kid Minot could be something. A lot of this does depend on Joe Mazzulla. Now, Mazzulla was on the Names with Games podcast with Julian Edelman. And he talked about the first year and what it was like and losing and, then how important it was to win another championship. Let's hear a little bit of Joe Mazzulla on the Julian Edelman podcast, Names with Games.
What would you like to hear, Joe? Would you like to hear Joe Mazzulla, the coach? Would you like to hear about his tattoo? What would you like to hear?
Let's do a little coach first.
When that horn went off, that's the only thing I thought about. How are we going to do this again? And you got to do it. You fight like hell to make sure you get another one. Yeah. What do we have to do? And not in an unhealthy way. I think you live in a space of I don't know how long I'm going to do this, but for however long, that has to be the focus. It's got to be the relationships with the people, and it's got to be how do we get back? And you just have to constantly think about that every day.
You ain't got to explain yourself here. People don't understand when you're in the grind of trying to chase your dreams. And once you get your dreams, you recalibrate your dreams.
Yeah.
You don't have time to sit back and say, man, this is cool.
You don't.
I don't think Mazzulla did that at all, besides the, what was he doing? Muay Thai. But I think he's always been doing that, right? UFC fights. Did a lot of traveling this offseason, I heard.
Can I tell you my biggest issue with that clip? I know it's not Edelman, but who's ever sending out those videos, do we need 35 sound effects in a 25-second clip? How many swipes and dings? And
that's a content creator.
Enough, please.
What network are they on? Is it just a YouTube?
It's just a podcast or something, but I don't play
the Names with Games guy. We don't need the...
Yeah, every it's a 30-second clip. I heard 7 noises. What do we let the guys talk?
Let them talk.
You want your sound to be aggregated. Maybe don't throw in 90 of those.
See, that's from a producer in Boston, people. Do you think we'll make the Names with Games podcast?
No, Joe. No, no one. Yeah, nameless.
Nameless. He's got a tattoo, huh?
Yes.
Huh. Is it the nuns from the town?
You think it's the barbed wire, Joe? You think he's got the barbed wire?
Baby. Don't make me pull it out. No, I won't. Well, let's find out. What kind of tattoo does Joe Mazzulla have?
Who's your villain?
Oh, the Joker.
You're the Joker.
That's my guy.
The Heath Ledger version?
Yeah. I mean, I got this.
Why are you so serious?
For him, because of that perfect balance of it's a great question. And he goes into telling the story as to how he got to that point. If you look at the Batman and the Joker, it's the Joker had no rules, but he really just wanted honesty. But he just went to the wrong depths to try and get that honesty. Meanwhile, Batman was I'm doing this for all the right reasons, when in reality, was he? Well, they're not much different.
You need to do a movie podcast. I was going to ask you, what do you do on your spare time, but...
I'm probably going to get better at my job first.
That's a coach right there.
I like that. So he likes crazy Heath Ledger Joker. Who's your favorite Joker?
My favorite, I guess Heath Ledger. I've never really thought about it before.
Mine was Jack.
Yeah, there you go.
Because
it's probably an age thing too. When you saw it.
Oh, he looked like it. He could pull it off. No, Heath Ledger was great. He was. What's the other Joe? Oh, what about Joaquin Phoenix?
I never saw those. Who was the other guy there too? Who was sending? He was
Jared Leto.
Yes, there you go. Out on that one as well.
Yeah. Mazzulla as the Joker, huh? Who'd be the Batman and Robin? Tatum and Brown. What would White be? White feels like the Robin for some reason.
There's got to be another guy in the universe.
He's crazy. I kind of like it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you have a coach that he'll talk to you hey, that's funny. Hey, did you see that? And then all of a sudden he's staring at you for 45 minutes. And then he's like, why'd you do that? In a way, I thought he was really good for the group because of his mental edge, right? I'm interested to see how it is with this team, right? There's still some guys with a chip on their shoulder. I've said that 3 times tonight. There's still some good players here. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think they're championship players. I mean, it's not a hot take. Vegas has them at 43.5 wins.
You want to know we're talking NBA, the Eastern Conference. Want to know what me and Trey have been talking about back here a
How
little
to
bit?
get Jokic.
No. He's going to LA with Luka. Joe, maybe the team no one's talking about in the East that could win the Eastern Conference, the Philadelphia 76ers. No one is talking about them. If Embiid is healthy, which is one of the biggest ifs of all time, but that is a pretty loaded roster in a terrible Eastern Conference this upcoming year. It'll be very Philly when they inevitably don't, win the East or even, get out of the second round probably. But if you're looking at the Eastern Conference right now, the Philadelphia 76ers should be considered right at the top of that. They're never going to have a better opportunity. I thought they wasted the Embiid window already, and they probably already have, but this is their last shot.
Is Paul George still on the team?
Paul George is still there.
Forget it.
Tyrese Maxey. Oh, sign Chris Paul. We got to get them all over there.
No. If Paul George is there, then forget it. I do like that dude. I actually watched Edgecombe the other night.
He's good.
Ooh, baby.
You see him talking, too? He was telling other guys, they're sorry, basically.
No, but, I mean, you get him and Maxey, maybe.
Yeah, McCann was good, too.
Oh, he's a good player.
They have a good roster, Joe.
And they have, the Kyle Lowry's back off their bench.
Oh, yeah.
They got, Andre Drummond resigned. Always world needs plenty of bartenders. He's one of them. At least he's a big, right?
He certainly is a big, Joe. I'll give him that.
Oh, God. Any other Mazzulla back there? Did he have anything else?
He had a clip on Horford, how he just felt really bad. Yeah, I'll play it for you.
All right, cool.
I think the hardest part about coaching that first year was when we didn't win, and I was like, man, I let Al down. Beyond all the other guys. Like when you coach a guy, who knows he's got a few years, whether it's 3, 4, 5 left, you take on as we were talking about earlier, you take on the journey of each of your guys, right? And you take on the good and the tough stuff. And the hardest thing to do was knowing after that season that we didn't give Al what he deserved.
What do you think is going to happen with Horford?
I think he's done. I think he retires.
I think, honestly, I'm not the biggest supporter of this discussion. But I do think that Al Horford was a really good Celtic. He's going to the Hall of Fame. And I wouldn't be surprised if 42 is up in the rafters. I'm not advocating for it. I just hope everybody knows. But of the era, it's Tatum Brown.
Yeah, it's 7-0, and I'm fine if that's it.
If 42 goes up,
I don't have a big problem with it.
Don't have a problem with it.
Just running out of jerseys, though.
And I know Ugo.
Yeah, what's Ugo gonna wear?
Well, he's wearing 28, but he's said it was really hard because
who was 28? Was that Michael Petrus? Maybe.
Petrus, yeah. But he said it was really hard to find a number, so he went with 28. I'm interested in Ugo big time. I don't think he's going to make an impact. I'm just saying, future-wise, I watched him cook Jordan Walsh the other day.
You hear about his hands, Joe?
Bigger than Kawhi Leonard.
He's got some mitts. Ugo.
If one's the claw, what do we call the other one?
The paw? I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe there's a Portuguese version for that. I don't know. We'll have to find out. All right. Well, somebody that was at the press conference today, his name is John Karalis. He's from the Boston Sports Journal. And we'll talk to him next. We'll ask him what's going on with the Celtics here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe. You're listening to
98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. We're here till 11 o'clock tonight. Full show. We've been talking a lot of Celtics here because, I feel like Brad Stevens is transparent. At the same time, I don't know what to believe. And that's why we're going to bring in John Karalis of the Boston Sports Journal, joining us here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. John, been a long time, my man. I'm still trying to figure out what the hell Brad Stevens said today. I know you wrote about it at the BSJ, but please decode the biggest takeaway that happened from Brad Stevens' press conference.
Brad is the master of sounding like he says a lot, but not saying much at all. He's really great at that. Look, the biggest takeaway is, for me, that the CBA, the second apron, is like just destructive. And no matter what was happening this year, Tatum being hurt, Tatum not being hurt, but there were going to be changes. And I think Tatum's injury maybe exacerbated some of the changes. It kind of made the changes a little bit bigger than they would have been, but changes were coming, and they're kind of operating with a different set of motivations, I guess, let's say, especially because of the Tatum injury. So it just feels like that whole thing today was, we had to do something to get away from those penalties. We're looking for guys that we can get on the cheap that maybe are diamonds in the rough, and we're just going to try to see what we can do this year. He even dropped the R word, the rebuild, somewhere in there. And so a little bit jarring, but that's kind of like my 30,000-foot view takeaway.
Yeah, jarring from my point of view is that they're not competing for a championship this year. Like, yeah, they have a chip on their shoulder, and there are guys here that have been there before, but he went on to say that there are guys who've never been through this. Just getting back to the apron stuff, though.
Yeah.
Was it about the money? And when I say that, is this ownership's, I'm using the word fault, but is new ownership the reason why they got out of some of the money? And can you explain to me how they got out of the two moves and contracts of Drew Holiday and Porzingis, yet still at the second apron today, where, I don't know, you could have kept them, still been competitive, and then still tried to work it out at the deadline?
Yeah, so I don't think this is ownership saying, oh my God, $200 million tax bill, we got to get rid of that. I think the second apron stuff is the primary motivator, but the money is a byproduct because you have to cut salary to get under the second apron. And by cutting salary, you're cutting exponential amounts of tax dollars, right? They cut $20 million, almost exactly at this point, $20 million off their payroll, but they ended up saving like $120 million, more than that, in taxes because of the repeater tax and all of that stuff. I don't know. Like, they keep saying, I specifically asked directly, is getting out of that repeater tax a priority? And Brad said it's helpful, but it's not the priority. They're not just making moves to save money. They're making moves to get under these aprons. And why are they still over the second apron? Well, look, you had to bring guys in. So they moved $63 million. They brought in $43 million, approximately. So they're still doing work, right? Like, Anthony Simons, I don't know that he's on the opening night roster. George Niang, I don't know that he's on the opening night roster. So that right there can get them further beyond the second apron and further under the tax, or closer to under the tax. So that's the financial situation. I really do think the second apron, the freezing of draft picks, all of that stuff is really, really the driver, because that's happening right around rebuild time. They weren't stupid when they put those in place. 7 years out to start freezing draft picks is prime rebuild time, and that scares the hell out of general managers.
One thing he did mention was when they acquired Malcolm Brogdon, that's when they went, oh boy, we might have some problems in the future. And yet they still made some big moves last season. Can you just explain again the difference between the tax and the aprons. So, for example,
no
you said they freed up, they got rid of $63 million, but long term it's huge money. But, they saved about $20 million on the cap. But what can't they do now? What can they do now? What were the penalties, if there were any? Because I think a lot of people, like I just mentioned, hey, they just moved on all this money. They're still at the second apron. But how does this help them now? And why does Brad think having first-round picks is one of their biggest priorities right now?
Well, so having first-round picks is a big priority because at some point, like they have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, but those guys are 27, 28 years old. So, 3-4 years from now, we're looking at full rebuild, right? We're looking at, is it time to trade those guys and do the classic, get a bunch of draft picks, trade those guys out for young players, go deep into like Utah Jazz territory, youth movement, and move forward. So you need all of your own draft picks because when you're bad, you don't want to have somebody else own your picks. So that's why that's important. So the way this system is set up is you have the salary cap, and then there's a tax line above that. There's a first apron line about $10 million above that, and then there's a second apron line $10 million above that. So each line has its own level of penalties. The second apron is you can't send two guys out to match salaries. You can't take back any more money than you send out. So you can't trade a guy making $10 million for a guy who makes $10 million and 1 cent. That's elite. You have to match or take in less money. So very restrictive. You can't send out two $10 million guys to get a $20 million guy. You can't aggregate like that over the second apron. If you're over the second apron, 3 out of 4 years, those draft picks start getting, in the third year, they start getting frozen. And each year after that, they can move your draft pick down to the end of the draft if you stay over the second apron long enough. So it doesn't matter how bad you are, you'd pick 30th. And then so you get to the first apron, you can start aggregating trades. Under the first apron, no trade restrictions. Under the cap, all of the restrictions go away. So all of that stuff, the further down you go, the less restriction there is. So that's why all of this is important, especially for the Celtics, because they are inching closer. Right now, they're doing the Tatum, Brown, Derek White. That's the core. And within the next 2, 3, 4 years, they're trying to do, can Luka Garza step in? Can Josh Minot step in? Can the cast-offs? Basically, you're going to every clearance rack you can find to see if you can find a nice outfit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what Brad Stevens is doing. He's trying to go from clearance rack to clearance rack to clearance rack to find, like, accessories for the 2 good suits that he has. Like, that's what he's doing right now.
Good. I like that analogy. Talking with John Karalis, Boston Sports Journals, covering the Celtics for years. One other thing Brad Stevens said today was that, he said it a couple of times, but Joe Mazzulla has multiple years remaining. Should we assume that his extension that he signed started that first year? Do you think there's already something in place? And just, I remember specifically him and Baylor Shireman having like a 45-minute stare down and him saying that he doesn't love rookies. I just asked, do you think he's the right guy for this clearance rack roster that they'll be having?
Yeah, I'm very clearly a pro Joe Mazzulla guy. I think the way he thinks is a breath of fresh air. Obviously, he has, something. He has been learning on the job, but that has also brought the Celtics a championship. Like you cannot discount his role in bringing the Celtics a championship. And the guys all talk very highly of him. His former, his staff, the guys who have gone off to other jobs, talk very highly of him. He's very well respected. I know that some people are turned off by sometimes the sheer volume of 3-pointers. But that's a tangent I'm not going to get into. I don't think that's as big a problem as some people say. He's under contract. Yep. We've asked Brad a couple times now about Joe. He's here. The team loves him. He's here for the long haul. But I will also say that this upcoming season is going to be a very interesting kind of challenge to what we've seen from Joe. It's a new thing. Joe loves new challenges. He loves these new type of scenarios. And the one interesting thing that I thought Brad said was that Joe has some interesting things in the works that they're going to experiment with in Summer League. So I'm really kind of curious to see what that is. My guess is that there's going to be a lot of zone defense experimentation because the Celtics front court right now, no disrespect to Neemias Queta and Luka Garza and those guys, it could go into the season as maybe on paper the worst front court in the NBA. So they're going to have to make up for a lot of deficiencies at the center power forward position. So I would expect a lot of that experimentation to kind of be on that end. But I'm curious to see what Joe's got in store. But he's such a unique thinker that I feel like he's going to come up with some kind of plan that is different, and we'll see if that works or not.
Big by committee, I think, is the way it's been presented after the press conference. I agree with you. They're going to be horrendous defensively. Hey, listen, we all know what Luka Garza was in college, right? Wooden Player of the Year. He's always been a Brad guy. Maybe he just needs a little bit more time or just fill that Cornet role. The Minot guy, that's one I'm interested in. Like, could he play the 4 and do a little bit more? But just looking at the team, though, in general here, do you think they're waiting? Like last year, the Knicks, right? Bridges became available. They had all those assets. They went and got them. Do you think now they're just kind of laying in the weeds, seeing maybe somebody might want out, or because this is what they meant by a priority, right? Like, now they have some money they can move. They have picks. Do you think they're waiting around for maybe the next big to be available? I'm not going to go Jokic on you, all right? Because I know he's not. I don't want to get everyone too excited. But do you think they could pounce on some big that might become available if they wait it out?
I think there is the possibility that they could go, deep sea fishing, so to speak, right? They're looking at, because they don't have if Simons isn't a long-term part of this team, doesn't mean that he moves over the summer. You still have December 15th when a lot of restrictions are lifted in the NBA. You still have the trade deadline. And look, $27.7 million is a big number to help match salaries. George Niang, $8.2 million is a big number to help match salaries. Again, now that you're under the second apron, that can help you aggregate players. You can start putting 2-3 guys together, and plus maybe a couple of future draft picks to go maybe try to get that guy. One other thing to keep in mind also, a restriction that's lifted if you get under the first apron, if they can carry that into next season, you get your full mid-level exception, which this year was $14 million. Next year, I assume it goes up by about 10%, so you're getting close to almost $16 million.
Wow.
That could make them a somewhat of a player in free agency next year if they play their cards right. So you can get under that first apron heading into next summer. At some point next summer, you open that up, and you never know. Like, a lot of these guys that used to make $20+ million in this new CBA kind of dip into that $14 million, $15 million range. And so there's some future planning here as well. So yes, you're right. They could be going for a big fish somewhere along the roads here, but they could also be biding their time and setting themselves up to, make a big trade, make a mid-level signing. And now if you do that, plus you keep Tatum and either Brown or White or both, all of a sudden your retool becomes right back into top of the East.
All right, final one here. John Karalis, Boston Sports Journal. The Celtics essentially drafted 3 European players this year.
Yeah.
What have you seen in Ugo? I heard he's got big hands. Amari Williams, who great college player, and obviously Shulga looks like he can shoot. So, is there a reason why you think they went with the European and long-term college fit? And what are you seeing from those guys? I know they haven't started yet, but you were at least there today. What'd you see?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't make anything about like the European thing. I think Garza, they're trying to get a guy that's like high maturity, and so Garza, it's more that he was in that Real Madrid system for a while. I think he kind of gets even though he's young, kind of gets the pressure, the big stage, and all of that stuff, and he's not fazed by that kind of stuff. So, and he's a unique kind of talent. He can do a lot of different things. Didn't see a whole lot of them today. Saw some shooting drills. Saw a little bit of just kind of half speed kind of thing. So I don't want to make any real rush to judgments on these guys yet. But the few little bits you see, you say, okay, Garza Hugo, thank you. All of these European names, I'm mixing them all together. I keep wanting to call Hugo Luca. I think that might be a little Freudian slip, hoping that it turns into another Luca for the Celtics. But I think Garza, I did it again. Hugo has some potential to be a kind of do-it-all combo guard. I don't know if that makes him a starter-level player or a bench-level player that can come in and be a versatile backcourt kind of guy in the terms of like maybe a Derek White type. I don't know about the defense, but offensively, kind of that kind of type. Williams, I like with his court vision. He kind of fits offensively what the Celtics are trying to do, big, long wingspan. I want to see what he's going to be like at Summer League. And Shulga, if he's a shooter, then great. Then that's valuable too. All you need for the Celtics is to hit on one of these guys. If you hit on one of your signings in Garza or the other kid from Minnesota, Minot, thank you. If you hit on one of those guys, if you hit on one of your draft picks, now that to me is a win. You put two more guys into your rotation when Tatum comes back. That's pretty good. But I'm very curious about Williams and his ability, obviously because the Celtics are super thin. I want to see how he sees the game at the next level, especially at Summer League, where guys they're not all on the same page. So I kind of want to see how he reads guys that haven't had a lot of practice time. Can he still find those guys? It's going to be very interesting. But yeah, I like both of those guys. I really don't know much about Shulga.
All right. Well, I'm excited for Isaiah Wong because I have a bunch of his autographed cards, and I hope that, maybe he can. And by the way, Kenny Lofton, big boy. So yeah. I always root for the big boy. And by the way, Ben Gregg from Gonzaga's hanging around here. So who knows? There's bigs all over the place. Maybe one can hang around and make it through camp.
This is what makes Summer League so great. The overreactions. Like, oh, I remember this guy. He was pretty good. Somebody's going to do something. You're like, oh, wow, that's going to be awesome. And yeah, Summer League is so great for overreactions. It's going to be fun.
I can't wait for the Kenny Lofton memes. I am ready. Ready for the big boy. John, appreciate your time, man. It's going to be a wild next couple of weeks. Great job as usual, and we'll catch up down the line.
All right. Talk to you later. Thanks, guys.
You got it. He's John Karalis. Does an excellent job over at the Boston Sports Journal. He played ball professionally overseas, and guy knows his stuff. If you remember Red's Army, remember that? If you guys remember them, he was a big part of that. So, and now he's on with the BSJ. All right. Well, we'll take a quick break. We'll get you updated on what's going on over at Fenway Park. I'm Joe Murray here on the Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
All right. No. back here on 98. Just wanted to mention, we got In or Out coming up next, by the way, which, Skaz, all the other shows, they just wanted to do it. Real quick, who have you worked with since I've been out? Well, we'll get to that. I know Trey's helping us out back there. Who have you worked with since I've been gone?
I've worked with Alex Barth and George Bilecki.
George Bilecki?
Yes, Bilecki. Yes.
Bilecki?
Bilecki, I don't want to get it wrong.
I know his
yes.
buddy Travis, who I went to Sammy P's cookout. And I ran into Travis there, and he's a Maryland guy. And I said, I'm going to connect him with a guy named Trey, is what I said. He goes because he loves Maryland. But, yeah, they do that Enter the Chat show, is it, on Nesson?
That is correct, yeah.
See, I knew that.
There you go, yes.
So there's three. You've worked with three people now.
And that's pretty much it, Joe. I had Barth again last night.
Oh, nobody. Okay. So
I was off I was off Wednesday, Thursday last week.
So I was just wondering who else has been in at night.
I think Silver was in one night. I believe Matt McCarthy has been in. Matt McCarthy will be in tomorrow night.
Matt McCarthy, let me tell you, I've seen a lot of him lately. Matt, I love you. You'd say the same thing about me. I've seen too much of Joe lately. Yes, we both worked on Sunday. And basically on Sunday, Leroy and Leroy's like, I just got back from New Hampshire in the Lakes region. And somehow it got into people who go to the Cape only go to the Cape because of the Kennedys, which I disagreed with. And then I realized that a lot of people do go to the Cape because of the Kennedys. So it was one of those shows, where we just talked about nothing. It was great. Then I saw Matt McCarthy, and he goes, what am I going to do all afternoon? I said, I don't know, talk about the traffic. And he did. So I just wanted to mention tomorrow night, Lionel Messi is coming to Gillette Stadium. If he's traveling, I think he's playing, right? I know he doesn't love field turf, but just...
He played last year.
He did. I just want to let people know that if you don't have a ticket for this and you want to watch one of the best in the world...
The best.
Go. I know you guys had Revs coverage the other night.
We had Leo Campana on last night, who played with Messi last year, was on Miami.
Wow.
Gave us some insight.
Well, there's a couple of guys from... Real Madrid that are on the Miami team, right?
Well, so Miami has Suarez, who was a Barcelona, Liverpool guy.
My bad.
Busquets is down there. Yeah, they got a couple guys. But Campana he plays for Ecuador. He's going to play in the World Cup too. He's legit. So he was with Messi last year. Gave us some insight there. But yeah, like you said, Joe, this is the greatest soccer player to ever live. This is, if you want to see him, this might be, one of your last chances.
I would say,
World Cup maybe, but who knows where Argentina's going to play next year. So it might be nowhere near here. So yes, even if you're not like a big soccer fan, if you're a sports fan at all, this guy is the best soccer player. A sport that, isn't like football. This is a sport everyone in the world plays. He's the best to ever do it.
I just don't know how many times you can just drive to the park and see a guy like that.
Yeah.
Like you'd have to get on a plane and then...
And it's not like he's washed either.
Yeah.
Like he's still delivering.
He tore up the whole MLS the other day.
He destroyed Montreal the other night, yeah.
So it's been big. Hey, the Bananas were here, the Savannah Bananas. I know people laugh about it, but things sold out, banged out.
The All-American Rejects were doing a little concert over there. Brock Holt showing up.
Brock Holt, Matt Barnes, Keith Folk, Johnny Damon, Bill Lee. And listen, there was a lot of women there, a lot of young fans. I think it was great. So in Boston recently, you got the Bananas, you've got Messi, and next week, Caitlin Clark will take on the Sun. So this is your chance now to check out some of the best in the world. Speaking of best in the world, let's do In or Out. Coming up next here on 98 Found the Sports Hub.
What's it gonna be, McFly? Are you in or out?
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe.
at me and I'd be like, no, never mind. And then a couple of,
I did hear some Adam 12 in or outs. I like that, you know? I like, switch it up. Give a different perspective.
He was great to work with. You have to understand, Skaz. Just imagine multiple producers.
Joe, in my wildest dreams, I don't know if I can. I wish.
So what are you doing right now? You're running the show. You're doing the YouTube. You're trying to get Trey set up. You're contacting somebody for a password, and you're about to go host In or Out.
Yeah, another Tuesday night show.
Another day. What would the night show? What else? This is why we, as I put in our chat, we are authentic and unfiltered.
That's us, Joe. That's us. In or out, Joe. It's been a while. Feels good to be back. Well, Joe, we did have this one last night, but it wouldn't feel right if I didn't ask it to you as well. A food question. And, Joe, honestly, something you started off the Slack with channel last night at 8:05 p.m.
Correct.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch is releasing a bacon flavor breakfast cereal available at Walmart today. Joe Murray, are you in or out on Cinnamon Toast Crunch bacon flavored cereal?
I like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I had little runs in my life of Corn Pops to Raisin Bran to Cinnamon Toast Crunch to Honey Smacks. I think this would be good. A little cinnamon and bacon. I'm in. Now, I'll have to try it first and then tell you if I'm in or out. That's my disclaimer. But I'm in. Give it to me. I'm in. Oh, and you're fighting with people in the chat.
Not fighting, Joe.
No, you're discussing.
Just being
factual?
Factual, yes.
In or out, Messi better than Ronaldo.
It's not even. Don't waste people's time, Joe. It's not. Yeah, it's. Come on. I thought that debate ended a long time ago. If you actually watch soccer or know literally anything at all. But yes, Joe. Continue with In or Out.
Correct.
Joe, another fixture of In or Out, not food, but Sydney Sweeney seems to come up somewhat often in In or Out.
Yes.
Sydney Sweeney says she'd be interested in playing Barbie's sister if a Barbie sequel ever happens. She says, I'd have to read a script, but I'm a huge fan of Margot Robbie, so I would not be opposed to it. Joe Murray, would you be opposed to it?
Margot Robbie and Sydney Sweeney on the same screen? Can we say in loud enough?
In.
She'd have to be like...
She'd be like Malibu Barbie?
No. She'd be like the...
Midwest Barbie?
Evil sister Barbie.
Oh, you think she'd be evil, Joe?
She'd be like gothy. You know, like... you know how there's like the good witch and the wicked witch and the good witch? I feel like it would be that kind of scenario. Like Barbie is the good witch. But here comes Sydney as the wicked witch of Barbie. And... She everything she did was like, you know how Barbie was classy? Barbie's sister would be risque. Moulin Rouge-ish, you know what I mean? Vouche, whatever the words are.
You've been on a little Moulin Rouge kick lately, Joe.
I don't know what it is. No, if she's going to do it, she's got to do it right. Got to be the evil sister, baby. In, exclamation point.
Well, Joe, from a sequel to a possible spinoff. Well, actually, I shouldn't say possible, Joe. It's in the works. Joe, a One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest spin-off series is in the works. The series follows Chief Bromden after his escape in the film. Joe Murray, are you in or out on a One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest spin-off?
I liked the movie. Chief did escape. I am kind of interested. But I think that's got fail written all over it. You know why? What young person is going to... Like, who's reading One Who Flew Over a Cuckoo's Nest?
Yeah, how relevant is that today? Like, yeah.
I think it was a little... when I read it, it was too adult for me. Who the hell teaches that? But what would you... I read like Romeo and Juliet.
Catcher in the Rye.
I read Catcher. Oh yeah, Catcher in the Rye. I definitely read.
What's the one where the Lord of the Flies? That one stuck with me. Didn't love that.
I did read Count of Monte Cristo, but I don't know who's reading about it. We just watched Shawshank Redemption.
Beowulf.
Okay, that was a little before me, or after me. Yeah, like how many books? Hey man, you got to read this book. What else did I read? I read a lot of Patriots books. I think I've read all of Michael Hawley's books. Every time I see Hawley, I get a book recommendation for him.
I've read probably close to all of Harlan Coben's books. I went through a big Harlan Coben phase.
See, I loved Michael Cohen growing up, but I think I was a Jurassic Park freak.
That's what it was, yeah.
Was it Cohen or Creighton? Michael Creighton.
Michael Crichton, yeah.
Creighton, whatever. Did he just say Count of Monte Cristo? Did I say Crisco or Cristo?
I'll give you Cristo, Joe.
You know what? I'm okay if I said Crisco.
Hey,
you know why?
Who doesn't like Crisco?
Lather it up, baby. Next.
All right, Joe. Let's see. Where do we want to go now? I gotta find the list here.
Well, I think
here we go.
there's one about an All-Star game, right?
Oh, the All-Star game.
Yeah, what is this?
MLB All-Star game. Oh, the pregame. The pregame. Yes, you put this in Slack earlier today. The pregame festivities for the MLB All-Star game, Joe, will include Ludacris, Christopher Bridges, I believe, Jermaine Dupri, Zach Brown, Kane Brown, and Lauren Spencer Smith. Joe Murray, are you in or out on the pregame festivities at the MLB All-Star game?
All right, we're trying to... What is baseball doing? Like the NHL, they have no clue, and I'm just here for the dumpster fire.
I think they're going all ATL, all Atlanta, I guess.
We'll ask Conor Ryan about the NHL stuff again. But, so you think it's an all ATL thing?
It's in Atlanta, right? So I'm guessing like Luda's from Atlanta. I would imagine
Welcome
Jermaine
to
Dupri
Atlanta where the
is.
players play.
Zach Brown, I'm guessing, is from Georgia.
Kane Brown.
Oh, that's right. Your song last year, Joe. A pickup truck there in the driving or whatever it was. Who could forget?
You know what? In a way, although I don't care, if I was there, if I got some Ludacris, get out the way, and a little bit of Zach Brown and Kane Brown, I think they're hitting a lot of areas there. So am I in on it? Is it better than Smash Mouth All-Star at the 1999 Fenway Park All-Star game? I don't know. I'm out.
It's no Creed, Joe. It's no Creed.
It's not Creed.
Well, Joe, the year of SGA continues. SGA will be on the cover of the new 2K, Joe. In or out?
Is he next to get hurt now?
I didn't even think of that.
I'm in, but you know what? Oh, God, one day this is... I don't want to be the one to say it, but one day, Skaz, you know, somebody, I don't know who it's going to be. I don't know if it's a Boston sports personality. I don't know if it will be. We need someone a little bigger. Maybe our man Stephen A. I don't know. He's getting He's stretched a little too thin, I think. He needs a break.
A little overexposed there, Stephen A.
Overexposed, commercialized. Someone's going to have to come out and say that SGA is overrated at some point.
I'm honestly surprised it hasn't happened already. Oklahoma City, not a big enough hornet's nest to kick, though, I don't think.
It's not going to be me because I said that he sucks.
Yeah, it didn't go too well.
And then he broke the NBA record for points in the fourth quarter. So again, like, I played with the bee's nest, and I got stung. I was trying to get lightning, and he gave me the thunder. Overrated. So am I out? No, he deserves it. Fine. But at some point, we're going to get SG bored. Next.
All right, just sticking kind of with the NBA basketball theme, Rucker Park is now officially NBA and NCAA sanctioned. The Park Strategic Partnership made this announcement earlier today. Starting this summer, NBA and NCAA players can be rostered on Rucker Park men's Pro-Am teams during their offseason.
Wow.
Joe Murray, are you in or out on pros being rostered at Rucker Park?
Ooh. The way you phrased that, I'm a little...
How do the teams feel about it? How does NIL investors feel about it?
I'm going to tell you right away, there's a big difference between playing outside and in the court. Like, right? Different sneakers, it's different. I mean, I don't have to tell everybody that, but if you're an NBA player, you should only play on the court. Now, I know Peyton Pritchard does it all the time. I don't know. You know what? I'm in on the idea of it. I'm in. I need more logistics, though. Like would Hugo Gonzalez play at Rucker Park?
I think he's headed to the summer league.
No, but after the summer league.
I don't think so.
Like, hey, you go to Rucker?
I don't know if he'd make it, Joe. He might not make a roster.
No, Hugo, if he played at Rucker? Oh, my God. I think he'd be like, no, he'd be like the perfect guy.
Maybe. I haven't seen enough, Joe. I haven't seen enough Hugo yet. All right, Joe, we can end with this one tonight. Joe, the World Series of Poker is currently going on. Are you in or out on watching the World Series of Poker?
In. Now, we have Steve Buchanan on from DraftKings. When I met Steve, he was an intern for Bernard Lee. Bernard Lee's a famous poker player. Was the runner-up at the World Series of Poker years ago. I knew Bernard Lee, great guy, big Celtics fan. Writer for the Boston Herald. Really, he does a great podcast where people can call him about, poker situations. And I think there's like an audience for that. Skaz, I think you and I don't have the time for it.
For poker?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
But I mean, if it was like, an all-day affair, like, hey, we guys want to play a game of poker, it's $20 buy-in, I'd be like, hell yeah. Now, I don't know how long I'd fold a lot because I don't want to, lose.
I saw some guy folded like 51 times in a row last night. It was Mincy.
I saw that, yeah. I did see that.
You can't be at the featured table folding 51 times in a row.
Well, I tell you, we did Sarge and I did a poker tournament. Sarge was the first one out. I go, what happened, man? He goes, I went all in. And I go, and you lost? He goes, yeah. I go, what are you doing?
It's crazy, though. Those guys, like some of those, they'll be there for 12 hours, straight.
Yeah, I've done it.
No, thank you.
But World Series of Poker in. I mean, dude, we're watching cornhole right now. The MLB season got held up because of the cornhole. All right. Anything else tonight?
That's going to wrap up a Tuesday night edition of In or Out, Joe. Good to have you back.
All right. Well, we'll get a quick look at the headline. We're going to talk to Conor Ryan at about 9:20. How about I get you just a little update on what's going on over at Fenway Park right now? We'll do that next here on the Sports Hub.
From the Telfair Type Studios, WBZ-FM and HD1. It's not just the games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand, Felger and Maz, Joe Murray. For Boston sports fans, it's 98.5, the Sports Hub. Paisley Media Group Station. Essential Sports Hub headline, presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Well, the Red Sox hit their average over the last 10 games, having 9 runs. 9. We'll tell you what happened coming up here on the other side. Celtics, though, Brad Stevens made everything official. Also mentioned that Al Horford's probably not going to be retained. The NHL and the players have agreed on the new collective bargaining agreement. Runs through 2030, and tomorrow night, Lionel Messi takes on the New England Revolution at Gillette Stadium. We have all the coverage here on 98.5, the Sports Hub. Headlines, they are brought to you by Kesha's Law. Kesha's Law, they specialize in helping those who have been injured not only from a one-time incident, but a lifetime of hard work and labor. Does it sound like you? Visit keshaslaw.com. I'm Joe Murray. Your next update soon.
Start your day.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Work through your day.
What's that thing we do at the end of the show?
And end your day.
I'm not giving you an opinion. I don't know.
Right here, 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Jared Duran just went deep.
In or out, that's his last home run as a member of the Red Sox.
Unfortunately, Jared Duran he's a casualty. He was once a prospect, right?
They all were.
He had a nice little run. He won an MVP of an All-Star game. He made an All-Star.
That's right. He was All-Star game MVP.
He made an All-Star game.
And Maz said they should, shut down the event because he made the team?
But, I mean, they've had other, like, Benintendi was fine, but not as good as Durant.
Didn't Brock Holt make the All-Star team one year?
Yeah, but I'm talking about, truly developed guys, Like, just over the years, right? Benintendi was okay. But Durant's better. I could think of some more that they've moved on from.
Ellsbury, I think, is the one people go to a lot with Durant.
He was a stud, but the thing was, the thing with Ellsbury was you were paying a guy for what he already did. Like Ellsbury he never put up big numbers for New York. His problem in New York was his injuries. But as far as outfielders go, I think that it's a successful. Duran was a successful prospect. He didn't turn into maybe what some people hoped. He definitely wasn't the leader. He had to mature. He dealt with a lot of mental illness. He faced a lot of adversity. I think the team did expect more out of him. And I think, you know what it is? I mean this in sincerity, not to crap on Durant. Okay? But I think he's the poster child of what is wrong with the Red Sox. He's a good player, not great. He makes mistakes still. He's not a leader. When on the field, he tries to do too much, and it hurts the team. Essentially, they have been trying to lean on him more and more. And as you find out, you can only lean on him so much. And I'm not trying to slight him. I think he's been a good player. I think he'll be a good major league player. I just think he's someone they've leaned on too much. And you know what? He hit a big home run right now, and I don't know. I heard Twins. I've heard Padres. I'll say in. That was his last home run. JP's in North Providence. What's up, buddy?
Joe, I'm calling in early tonight because I heard you talking about some alternative betting. Do you watch poker? Do you bet on it? And then I need some help, Joe, for some travel advice. Might be too young to remember, but during the first big NFL strike, we were watching Australian rules football, and there's nothing like a ref wearing a white coat and a fedora. And damn it, we were betting on that, Joe. It was fun to watch. Then during COVID, we were betting on curling. So my question to you is, what is your favorite alternative sport to watch and bet on? Thank you. And yet I'm at a drive-thru at McDonald's.
McDonald's, what'd you get? Hey, real quick, no, hang on. What'd you get?
There's only one thing to get, the McDouble $6 meal. Come on, John.
That's what I get, too.
It's outstanding.
McDouble and ketchup, though, is where I go.
Well, I asked them for McMurray, and they looked at me, so I said, I'll make it. Just give me the chicken. So, Joe, what's your favorite alternative? Because I loved watching Australian rules football. You could kick, you could tackle, you could hit people. It was outstanding. Now, for travel advice, I'm going to Wilmington, North Carolina for 3.5 days tomorrow morning. Never been down there. Do I wear the Bruins shirt, and should I go heavy on the Boston accent, or do I go with the Providence, how you doing accent?
I'd go Providence. I'd go Providence first off. My answer on alternative, I know it's UFC because I love to bet the underdogs, but I used to love to bet the Korean Baseball League. 7 in the morning. Yes.
Korean baseball.
Dude, they played at 6 in the morning.
Did they bow to the umpire if they get called struck out or what?
No. It was good. They had a bunch of USA players as well.
Okay, I can look into that.
And good luck in North Carolina. I don't know what's going on out there weather-wise. I know there's been a lot of flooding, so good luck. I mean, I hope everything's okay out there.
Oh, wait, there's a kicker to it, Joe. We're going down for 3 days, and I'm driving a U-Haul back with her stuff back to Massachusetts.
Oh, this is a move-out situation, move-in situation?
No, stuff that was down there, but I got to drive back. I can't even drive on 93 without losing my mind being late for the train going into Boston. I got to drive back all the way from there in a U-Haul.
I would download the 98.5 app, and I'd listen to all the podcasts.
Oh, I'm going to be calling in. Are you kidding? I'm giving you updates from the road. Best food from the road stops, Joe.
Oh, you know what? I would love that, actually. I'm in on that.
I will be checking in. You still work nights, right, Joe? We're done with the days?
I'll be on this Thursday night. I'll be on.
And go Red Sox. Me and McCarthy might win our over bet, Joe. Thanks.
Thanks, buddy. I'll take calls from him. Hey, I'm at a Hardee's, or hey, I'm out here. We'll talk to you know what Conor Ryan went this week? Coffee shop, and he ran into the coach of the Boston Bruins. Remember Dave Dombrowski used to do that? Well, that's where they had their meeting, and we're going to find out about it next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe. You're listening to Joe Murray.
right, back here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. Oh, I saw a nice little article today on Boston.com, the Boston Globe, and, well, it was Conor Ryan, and he had coffee with the coach of the Boston Bruins. And he's joining us here on 98.5 The Sports Hub right now. Conor, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
So what happened here? You just, hey, coach, can I get an interview with you? He said, hey, meet me at the Dunks. Is that how it happened?
You know, it just comes out naturally like that, right? I mean, we all know that Dunkin' Donuts is truly the place where business and meetings get done here in New England. So what better place to do it? And I got to give him props. I don't know how many Dunkin' Donuts there are in Germany, where Marco Sturm is from, but he played along with it. Had a hot coffee in the middle of like the heat wave we had last week. So you got to give him props for that at least.
I guess I should ask, what type of coffee does he drink?
Hot coffee. Used to be a cappuccino guy, but now he's sticking to Old Reliable. Again, doesn't matter if it's wintertime, summertime. He goes with a hot coffee, a little bit of half and half.
Year round. That's a hockey guy right there.
I think he might be used to the punishment, I think, especially when he goes to looking at what the season's going to be. I think he has to get used to the fact that, you know, not a lot's going to faze him, I think, going forward.
Well, I like this approach on your part. Like, you know, it's Bruins somewhat off season. I know that they're going to have work and rookies and all that coming in here, and they just had free agency, and there's a lot of questions. But I don't know. This is like a guy that was a pretty good NHL hockey player. Obviously, we know him here from the Thornton trade, but overall, pretty damn good career. And if you look at it, he's really like earned his stripes as far as an assistant, and now, you know, in the minors as well. So I do think that he was a guy who should have got a job this year. But was he a little bit surprised that the time was now? What was your takeaway on him being ready for this opportunity?
Yes, so sort of what he echoed to me was this felt like the ideal situation, not just because of the fact that he has the ties here from playing with Boston, but he feels like the Bruins are kind of where the Kings were a few years ago when he first jumped aboard as an assistant coach there, where, you know, they had their kind of run of dominance where they won a few cups early in the 2010s, and then things started tailing off. They lost some key pieces. They weren't drafting a lot as they kept on trying to contend, and they were kind of due for a little bit of a retool, rebuild, however you want to phrase it. And I think Marco Sturm kind of sees some parallels with this Bruins team. It's something that even Don Sweeney mentioned before they hired Marco Sturm, is that the Kings are a team they kind of want to mimic in terms of how do they kind of get back on track. A lot of it goes back to, you know, defense first, reclaiming that kind of identity out there on the ice. That's more or less what Marco Sturm echoed again. But I think from his perspective, where they were kind of starting from scratch with the Kings, I think he sees a similar challenge with the Bruins, where I think you look at the moves they made so far this offseason. It does feel like, I think for him especially, it's all about kind of getting the foundation in place, resetting the culture a little bit here, bringing in some younger players, and seeing where this team is, I think maybe especially going into 26-27. If you want to kind of read the tea leaves, I guess, I think he's kind of expecting this to be a little bit more of a retooling year than a year where I think they're going to make a legitimate push for the playoffs.
You mentioned the Kings, and you know, there's a couple of players here that have ties to the Kings, right? So when you spoke to him, was that something he pitched, those names? And you know, you see it with other sports, right, all the time. Like Mike Vrabel brings in his guys, right? Like it's just what happens. Did he mention it, or did the Bruins approach him about some players that he's familiar with?
Yeah, he said it was more of the situation unfolded where players were available as opposed to him looking at, let's say, a whiteboard, right, and looking at someone like Victor Arvidsson, who obviously he has some history with the Kings. He mentioned it was more of that he was available, and more or less Victor reached out to them and said that he'd be willing to waive his no-trade clause to go to a team like the Bruins, where he does have that familiarity with Marco Sturm. And so it kind of worked out in that way, as opposed to, as you said, like Mike Vrabel having his whiteboard looking at bringing in guys from Tennessee or what have you. I don't think Marco Sturm had as much maybe pull this year in terms of identifying targets, but I think Arvidsson's a guy where you look at just how, I think, desperate this Bruins team is going to be for scoring. Victor Arvidsson had a rough year this past season with Edmonton, but he does have 5 20-goal seasons. That's a guy that, if you're just trying to find any source of offense with this group, I think that's a guy worth taking a flyer on, so it worked out in that regard.
You asked him a question about what type of message do the moves send about the type of identity? What was his original take on some of the additions?
Yeah, I think from his perspective, it kind of harkens back to a little bit what Don Sweeney alluded to, which is, from what he mentioned, that this team needs to be more competitive. I think getting back to the principles and the basics. And I think from Don Sweeney's, his comments, I think a lot of people interpreted it as like, all right, the Bruins they haven't really learned their lesson from last year, where they're trying to be competitive and they're trying to be more physical, and that's what they need to win in the playoffs. I don't think from Marco Stern's perspective, it's sort of the same approach where Don Sweeney mentions that he wants his team to be a tough out. I think we all assume, right, that considering how much the Bruins have been in a win-now mindset, that a tough out means the playoffs. I think for Marco Stern, in terms of what they added, I think tough out means that this year might be a little bit of a reset, a little bit of a retool. But if you're bringing in guys, veteran players like Sean Karalis, Tanner Jeannot, Mikey Asimont, yes, they may not win a lot of games, but I think if you're bringing in younger players and those players are leading by example, they're going to drop the gloves, be physical. They're not going to get blown out routinely like you saw last year. I think that's kind of what he's emphasizing this season, is that there might be some growing pains as they're waiting for guys like, let's say, James Higgins to arrive. But I think night in and night out, they're going to be a more competitive product on the ice as they try to navigate and build for, I think, especially 26-27.
All right, we're talking with Conor Ryan. He had a sit-down with Bruins coach Marco Stern at a Dunks. What did you get? Did you have anything?
I do the old reliable large cold brew, oat milk, caramel swirl. Don't try to stray too much, Joe. If it's the fall, maybe we'll get a pumpkin swirl here and there if I'm feeling festive, but otherwise, keep it consistent throughout the year.
I get a lemonade iced tea, and it's so good. I can't. I try to say Arnold Palmer, and they don't know what I'm talking about. So
it's amateur hour over there. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what Dunks you go to.
Well, it's definitely not the one in Brighton or South Boston. That's for sure. Hey, just speaking of some additions for the Bees, I don't know if it's been brought up enough, but can you talk about Steve Spott and how he can help the power play, and how does Sturm feel about adding him to the coaching staff?
Yeah, he seems pretty high in terms of what Spott has done, especially when you look at his track record, not just with Dallas the last couple of years where you look at the personnel they've had, but he's had success with Vegas. He's had success with San Jose, kind of following the Pete DeBoer coaching trio over the last couple of years. And from Marco Stern's perspective, he was pretty candid in terms of the fact that you look at the personnel they have at 5-on-5, it's going to be a work in progress with this team in terms of generating offense beyond David Pastrnak. And after that, it's assuming a lot going right? You're expecting, Morgan Geekie not to drop off, which might be asking a lot for a guy that just had a one-year breakthrough. It might be asking a lot for Elias Lindholm to carry over how we ended last year. But I think from Marco Stern's perspective, you look at the personnel that they should have on that power play, whether it's Pastrnak, whether it's Lindholm in more of an elevated bumper role, whether it's maybe giving more looks to a guy like Mason Lohrei or Hampus Lindholm now that he's back being healthy. Like, the personnel they have on that power play unit, I don't think they're going to be the same top 5 grouping you saw when it was Krug and you had Bergeron on the bumper and all that. But just in terms of the talent alone, that should be a top 15 power play, right? I think that's kind of where the bar is at. But I think when you look at the talent they have and what Spott has done over the past, I think they're looking at the power play bouncing back as a key piece as to why this offense can at least be improved from where it was a year ago.
All right, Connor, what's the motivation for Sturm to come back? I mean, he had a nice career. What was the fire? What brought him back to eventually becoming the coach of the Boston Bruins?
Yeah, I think for talking to him about just what motivates him as a coach, he enjoys finding these opportunities where I think teams are in the process of building something back up. You look at where he was with the Kings, and that was a team that was one of the powerhouses in the NHL the last couple of years before he arrived. And you look at where they are now, being a competitive team where especially younger players that he developed in the AHL are now becoming key pieces for the Kings at the NHL level. And I think you see what he's doing with the Bruins now, where I think him preaching the fact that I think they're looking at getting the foundation back, getting the culture right, and maybe taking a longer approach to this retool. I know maybe some Bruins fans don't want to hear that, but I think if you map that out and you're candid about what you're trying to do, I think more fans can buy into the fact that, hey, if this team has an opportunity to give, let's say, Matt Poitras or Fraser Minton or some of these younger players elevated minutes this year, and you see the growth from those players moving forward. If you see a guy like Mason Lohrei right the ship, and you see, what James Higgins is doing at Boston College in his second season, I think Bruins fans who have been so used to winning can take a step back for a year and see what this team could be moving forward. Because if the Bruins are trying to become a sustainable contender, you need to build pieces and add, key players around the likes of Pasternak, McAvoy, Jeremy Swayman. And I think where Marco Sturm has been with the Kings in terms of developing younger players, it feels like this is a great opportunity for him to kind of map out that same script with a team that he obviously has a lot of familiarity with.
The Bruins and Boston College hockey should do some sort of partnership, where you can hey, you go to the game tonight, you get a free ticket to the BC game or something. Just something.
There's 7 players on that BC team. It's crazy.
I know.
It pains this BU alum, but if James Higgins does well, I guess it does well for the entire market. So.
Well, now you have another reason to go to the Beanpot this year, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I always have plenty of reasons anyway, but yeah, there's no shortage of storylines. Yeah, Bruins need to bring in another BU prospect just to even the playing field a little bit, but I'm not going to complain. I mean, look at just some of the talent they've added the last year or so.
Final thing, what's up with the new collective bargaining agreement? Why did they agree to it now? 2 more games. Any other notes that we should know about with the new agreement?
Yeah, other than the 2 extra games, and in fact, there's going to be 2 fewer preseason games, which is always a good news in terms of it feels like preseason, kind of like the postseason, just drags on the way it goes on for how this season goes. But I think for both the Players Association and the NHL, for right now, business is doing pretty well. I think they've navigated the COVID-related economic impact. I think the players are getting a lot of money. You're seeing the franchises do well, whether it's Vegas, Seattle's been struggling in terms of on-ice success, but they're still printing money out there. And I think the players are also happy with the fact that they're going to be at the Olympics both in February and in 2030 as well. So it's not often you have this sustained stretch of labor peace between the NHL and NHLPA, but for right now at least, I don't know what Marty Walsh is doing, but all seems to be going well for all those parties in the NHL.
Do you think they're right now, for all the crap that NHL got from, 2005, 4, whatever it was,
mm-hmm.
Are they I don't want to say the best run organization, but I mean, the NFL's had some things, right? Baseball needs to still make the NBA. I don't know what's going on right now with all these aprons. Who would have thought the NHL actually got ahead of this thing? I'm actually kind of impressed with. I don't love Gary Bettman, but the fact that everybody's making money, to your point, and the game is so great, internet, across the world, he's done a hell of a job over the last 20 years.
Absolutely, yeah. I think you look at, especially where it feels like there's going to be some sort of labor strife the next couple of years in baseball. Again, I think you need 4 accountants to navigate what the apron is in the NBA. I can't crunch those numbers to how to navigate it, but it does feel like the NHL, they're not perfect. They tend to still do things that make you scratch your head, especially the NHL draft, having it feel like you had Zordon speaking to the video screen there. I don't know what exactly that format was, so it's not perfect. They still drop way too many ideas that I think backfire, but as a whole, the most important thing for any league is making sure you have games every single season, and the NHL is going to be in that spot moving forward for the next 4 or 5 years.
All right, Connor. Well, great job on that feature, man. I saw it today, and I was like, hey, I know I talked to him last week, but you know what? We should highlight this thing. So kudos to you. Now you and Marco Sturm, now you can go buy him a coffee next time you see him.
There you go. Works out perfectly.
By the way, snacking bacons. Have you ever had that?
No, I have not. No, I usually stick with just the wake-up wrap and the hash browns, but maybe I'll branch out a little bit.
The sausage, egg, and cheese wake-up wrap, oh, baby. And no, the snack and bacon, it's bacon, but they put a little bit of maple and a little bit of brown sugar on it. It's like a ham and bacon situation.
All right. I might have to expand my palate a little bit. Yes, that's good advice. I appreciate it.
I would like a review as well.
All right, I got you. Don't worry. I'll do it with Marco next month or something like that. We'll do a monthly sit down there, and that'll be more of what it is. We don't need to talk about X's and O's. We'll talk about the Dunkin' orders.
Well, X's and O's, X's and Joe's. I got you covered. You'll be in on the snack and bacon. Mark my words.
All right, sounds good.
You got it, man. Connor, great job once again, man. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Yep, no problem. Thank you.
You got it. He's Conor Ryan, everybody, who knows how to get in front of the coach. Good. I thought that should have been highlighted. I thought that was he's our guy. I got to put him over.
I like the hot coffee from the coach, though, in the middle of a heat wave.
Yeah.
That's a coach move right there.
That's tough.
That's a tough guy move right there.
That's great. Actually.
He drinks hot coffee. Yeah. That's what he does. Doesn't matter the weather.
Do you think Joe Mazzulla would do food like we could do a food thing?
He's probably got some Rhode Island, hot takes, Rhode Island pizza,
I'd go to
the Rhode Island hot dogs down there.
The Nordic Lodge.
Oh, yeah, there you go. There's a buffet for you, Joe.
Oh, baby.
Some crab legs down there.
By the way, I went to our old station was in Brighton. And on Soldiers Field Road, on their sign, they say, this is Jason Tatum's McDonald's. Well, I was going to the Legends box, and I was like, I'm going to have a McDouble before I go. And I popped in, and I believe his name is Shake. He's the owner of the McDonald's on there. And I said, hey, how's Jason Tatum doing? And he goes, oh, great friend, great. So that's where I got my Jason Tatum scoop, was from Shake, the owner of McDonald's on Soldiers Field Road. So, and he recognized my voice when I ordered it. So, yeah, what can I do? Has that ever happened to you before, Skaz? Pull up to the window and they say, hey, you Skaz?
I can say that's never happened to me. I've never really become a regular to that degree at like a fast food place. Maybe the closest was when I first started living on my own, 5-6 years ago. I used to get the 99, Milliken style constantly, and I feel like after a while they knew the car when it pulled in for the pickup or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But that's about it. I used to work on Manley Street in West Bridgewater going into Brockton, and at a place that used to be over there. I think it's in Bridgewater now, maybe Grand Slam. I was a borderline regular there for a while. Grand Slam. So great little spot. Yeah.
They knew who you were.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's been happening to me. But yeah, I just said, hey, can I get a McDouble? And then the guy goes, hey, you're a radio guy. I know you. And I said, oh, you do? And he goes, yeah. And then I said, tell me about Jason Tatum.
Yeah, what's his order?
Yes, I know. I did. But yeah, I am up for this. If Joe Mazzulla, if you are listening.
Apparently, I'm being told that on Games with Names, he talked a little Rhode Island pizza, but we didn't. I've not seen that. Well, I listened, but I didn't hear that. I didn't listen thoroughly enough.
Yes,
I guess
we're gonna have to do that on Thursday.
Do some digging, yeah.
All right. Well, hey, the Patriots are gathered in some sort of warm climate, playing football and catch. Let's get into that coming up here on the other side. I'm Joe Murray.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Red Sox won tonight 10-2 on the arm of Brian Bayo, who threw a complete game. It was a shutout, but he gave up a 2-run homer in the ninth, closed the door. 9 innings, 2 earned, 1 strikeout, 1 walk, 10 strikeouts at 107 pitches on the night. And again, we're here till 11 o'clock tonight. The Musings is coming up. But Brian Bayo went the distance before the All-Star game. So kudos to Bayo. I mean, he's starting to show his stuff. The last 6 starts, he's been really good. His ERA is somewhere in the low 3s at this point. So although he was the star tonight because there was not a lot of runs early on and then everything just kind of opened up. But a great performance, and really, I think he's a part of the solution. He's one of those guys that they extended. They're young players that they have control of. This is a huge, huge outing for him because generally he doesn't go this far. But the Red Sox have now 7 wins their last 8 games. They keep scoring runs. They're averaging about 9 runs a game. To be honest, they are beating up on bad pitching. But playing well is playing well. I don't care what you say. And as you look a little bit forward here, Alex Bregman's going to be coming back. Do they make a roster move? Is it Nick Eaton? Do they look at Marcelo Meyer? What do they do there? And then Masataka Yoshida's coming back. This Romy Gonzalez thing has been hot. Toro's been a pretty good mainstay. It's hard to make changes, but we just talked about Jarren Duran. Like, where do they fit? Right? You want Roman Anthony's playing well. He's hitting the cover off the baseball. I'll look up and see what he did tonight. Roman Anthony, another hit tonight and an RBI. He's batting .253. I think eventually he's your left fielder. Raphael has been hot. Center fielder in Abreu. So if your DH is Yoshida, what does this mean for Duran? It's great. Everyone's playing great. This is a good problem to have. It's a very good problem to have. You're starting to see more from the pitching staff. Giolito has showed more. Bayo is now showing more. Obviously, Crochet keeps giving you what he can. We'll see what Walker Buehler can do again. You know, Dick Fitz did pretty well last night, got sent back down, but wow, imagine getting good pitching and hitting. They got to win these games. They're against bad teams. I do want to give them credit for it. But scoring 10 runs, that's what I'm most impressed with, and I'll just leave it at this. I'll ask Cass, do you believe that removing Rafael Devers has been a positive for the Boston Red Sox?
The Rafael Devers, the baseball player? No. Rafael Devers, maybe the guy in the clubhouse? I could get behind that more.
I guess I'll say, do you think that removing him has been a positive for the team?
Maybe yes. I'll lean yeah. I'm pulling a Felger here. I'm sitting on the fence.
50-50?
50-50, yes.
50-50, yes?
I would say yes. They seem like more of a team maybe now.
They're not better without Rafael Devers.
No, absolutely
I think
not.
we know that.
Yes.
Is this just the bump now? What is this right now?
Like the dead cat bounce or whatever they call it.
The Bruins
there.
fired their coach and got a bounce, right?
Little bump, yeah. I think the story in San Francisco is being a little overblown too with the first baseman stuff there.
That's Will
Clark.
the Thrill, man.
Will the
He'll
Thrill.
take you by the back of your neck.
I think it's being a little overblown. If you read like the actual article, I think Milliken posted it.
I don't know. Ortiz, Will the Thrill.
It seemed as though they wanted him to do it in front of the Red Sox, and Devers said, no, I don't want to do the media circus in that series. So it was those 3 games that Devers no-showed first. And he seemed more than understanding of it, Will did. So I think I want to say a win for both sides because the Sox didn't get much to anything back. This is kind of why I'm in on them trading Duran, and Barth talked about this a little last night. I think they'll get more for Duran than they did for Devers because of the contract. You're not unloading that $350 million.
If a team acquires Duran, they're going to get a leadoff hitter and a guy that wants to win games at a pretty economical price. I think he's a nice little piece. Is he a part of the solution for the Red Sox? He's not.
I think there's just too many guys.
I said this a little while ago, but I think he's the poster child of what the Red Sox have been dealing with. They've been leaning on Duran way too much, and he's just not that guy. But he is 9-game hitting streak's no joke. He's heating up. Trevor Story's heating up. He's batting over 400 in the last month, dude. He's got 11 home runs. As far as like home runs go by shortstops, I think he's behind Ellie De La Cruz. Like, I would trade his ass if I could, but again, maybe they think he's a part of the solution. I don't. What does Justin think? Hey, Justin, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, Joe. This is what I think. I think that the Red Sox are better now, results-oriented on the field, but I don't think it's because of Rafael Devers. I think it's because they learn how to play. They learn how to play without him and play good solid baseball. I don't think it's because Rafael Devers is gone. I think they just got motivation and started to play better.
All right, Justin, I appreciate your call. I think Breslow's pretty happy about all this, guys.
I would say it's been a good week for Craig Breslow. His three guys are the only three All-Stars they have. The guy that some people say is a snub, Narvaez, also a Breslow guy. I know people might want to give Barth would not give Breslow credit for Bregman. He also wouldn't give John Henry credit for him either, so I don't know who gets the credit for that one.
So Barth out on Bregman.
Being a Breslow guy.
Out on credit to Henry. But I can understand people just not giving credit.
Yeah, but I think a good week for Craig Breslow. He's got you three All-Stars. Narvaez maybe a snub, and Devers is, pissing off a San Francisco Giants legend. So there haven't been many good weeks for Craig Breslow, but maybe this is one.
I wonder if Cora has gotten control of the team again.
I don't know. They still butcher plays in the field. Did you see that play at third last night?
I don't know if I saw last night.
I think
the one last Wednesday. I don't know what Meyer was doing. I went to the Thursday night game. Was it Thursday? No, I went to Wednesday night. When Romy Gonzalez went from the outfield hit that it was a double that he turned into a triple with no outs. Dude, in the Little League we learned not to make the first out of third. Like what are they doing? But again, guys on the team trying to do too much. But I think right now everyone's grooving. Like, this is the best you're going to see Rafaela.
Just keep the Rockies and the Nationals on the schedule.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I mean. The Rays are something to look at. I'm you know what I want to do, Skaz? I want to know what the bet is that all four teams from the American League East make the playoffs. Like, is there a bet on that? Can I bet that? What are the odds? I would like to know. We got the Musings coming out next. I'm sure you guys all love it. One tonight involves trash talking. And this hour of the Sports Hub, of course, has been brought to you by our good friends, because they are our good friends. And they're over at Valvolinas and Oil Change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com to save 50% off an extra after oil change at Valvolinas and Oil Change, the official oil change of busy people. I'm Joe Murray.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way on 98.5.
Tonight over Colorado, it was Brian Bayo's night. Went the distance, 5 hits, 2 earned, only had 1 walk, 10 strikeouts, gave up the 2 runs on a home run in the 9th inning. His ERA now at 3.27 on the year. They did get home runs from Trevor Story and Jared Duran, who now has a 9-game hitting streak. Roman Anthony also with an RBI in this one. The teams play again tomorrow night. Celtics president of basketball operations Brad Stevens says it's unlikely that Al Horford returns next season. Nikola Jokic says he will not sign an extension this summer with Denver. The NHL and the Players Association have agreed on a new collective bargaining agreement, and Lionel Messi comes to Gillette Stadium tomorrow night to take on the Revolution. You can hear it here on the Sports Hub. Headlines, they are brought to you by John Sewer and Drain Cleaning, keeping drains flowing for homes and businesses in the greater Boston area since 1976. Go to johnsewer.com. I'm Joe Murray. Your next update soon.
To us, Boston pride runs deep.
I'm a Bostonian!
This is Boston's home for sports.
Bow, bow, bow!
98.5, the Sports Hub.
You want a random take? Murray's got all sorts on stuff in the world unrelated to sports. So sit back, relax, and get your mind in the game and listen to the words of a grown man complaining.
All right, Murray's Musings here.
McCarthy tomorrow night.
Ooh, Marathon Matt.
So me and Matt McCarthy were at the Lionel Messi game last year together. This year, we will be here for the Lionel Messi game. Maybe a little post game. Sure, we'll do some Sox talk as well.
Awesome. I'll be watching the game tomorrow night. I'm all ready for it. All right, Skez. Sure, you've been around some trash talkers in your life, right? Someone who just talks smack. You know, the ones that I like are the ones that are in there. You know the song Scrubs? When it's like hanging at the passenger side of his best friend's ride? Those are the chirpers I like the most. The ones that are in the shotgun. Trey, you ever get any of this? Is somebody you're driving around and the guy who's driving, but the person who's in the passenger seat's chirping at people or talking smack or get out of the road or, hey girls, what's up? It's always that guy, I'm not sure if there's a lot of chirping at the golf course, Skaz. I haven't been to I haven't done a little, right? Like
a gentleman's game.
It's a wicked gentleman's game, especially if people are in front of you. You have to wait, right? It's part of the gig. You wait. You can wash your balls. You can, have a drink.
Can certainly wash them.
You can look at you're a little inebriated.
Hammered, Joe. Hammered. Blitzed. Hydrated.
He looks like a hardo.
Definition of.
He's wearing like a long sleeve untucked shirt at a golf course.
He's got the big D-bag sunglasses on too.
Yeah.
I think you could say that.
Kind of reminds me of like a Mike from The Situation. Mike the Situation from Jersey Shore. Like that kind of look. I don't know why I'm going there. Back when he was, before he was clean. But this dude's like, "Come on, bro. Hurry up, bro." And the gentlemen in front of them were like, "Hey, take it easy, man. Relax." And then the guy goes, "What are you going to do about it? We got to do about it." Oh, I love those guys.
And he said, "I'm going to throw you in the lake if you keep it up." And usually that's, a veiled threat. This gentleman meant it, Joe.
No, you know what, guys? I'm going to tell you. Normally, if somebody who's a pacifist, who doesn't want to fight, but if it really comes down to it, they're going to tell you what they're going to do to you. "Oh, dude, be quiet. I'm going to throw you through the door." And what do? You throw them through the door. That's what happens.
Yes, Joe. And this gentleman, we've done a little digging. The internet has done a little digging. The gentleman that he is yelling at and decides to start this fight with is none other than former NHL enforcer Nick Tarnasky.
I did not know this yet.
Yes, Joe. So this is a gentleman who had over 300 penalty minutes multiple times, who also got recruited to play in the KHL, the Russian Hockey League, to be an enforcer in the KHL. So this gentleman played for the Lightning, the Predators, the Panthers, and Chekhov as well. At 40 years old, Nick Tarnasky, he has a whole Hockey Fights page. This is one of the last gentlemen I would ever want to get in a dispute with on the golf course, and he gave the guy multiple chances.
Oh, he did.
Multiple chances.
So I'm going to give you the play-by-play. Buddy's recording and says, hey, bro, what are you doing? What's the problem, bro? Like, I'm paraphrasing here. And the guy chirps back. He goes, oh, do you want to get it kicked in? Do you want to get it kicked in? And then, again, the hockey guy that we don't see on screen yet. Oh, then he drops his putter. And then he puts his fist. He's like, let's go. I'm sure you guys all know these kind of hardos. Right? They're just jacked up on, like, adrenaline. Let's go, bro. And he's wearing his khakis. Is he wearing... He's wearing... Oh, then he charges after the dude. And all the hockey player did was take his momentum and throw him in the lake. Like, remember Gronk said he took him to the club? Threw him out the club?
Tossed him out the club. Who was that? I can't think of his name. Not Sergio Brown. But yes, the guy on the Colts there.
Oh, he gave him those shots. You know, those hockey shots that you like.
And the best part is, Joe, we can't play it over the air. As he's punching the gentleman,
he's going bam!
He's going bang, bang, bang. He's giving him the Mike Breen as he's like hitting him in the head. And
So-
we don't condone violence, Joe.
No. I will say this.
Commentary too in the video where the other guy's buddy's like, I think he's got him. I think he's got a chance or something.
Who was more wasted? The guy who got his ass kicked, or his buddy who's like, hey, I got the whole thing on camera, man.
Yeah, like
No, but here's the deal. Are you gonna like? Okay, the reason why I'm not preaching violence. I'm 43 years old. If if somebody chirped me, I can't punch them in the face anymore because
too old for violence.
Lawsuit.
Yes.
Okay. First off, let's just start with the lawsuits, guys. Then we'll go to the violence. Do you think this kid now? Like, you can't press charges because if anyone watched this video, they'd throw it out.
I got my ass kicked so bad, I'd like to press charges, please.
I got thrown in the lake twice. I'm going to retweet this. The funny thing is I saw it on Barstool. Well, I didn't know about the hockey angle of it until the morning skate tweeted it out and it says, can you imagine running your mouth at a golf course only to get fed by former NHLer Nick Tarnasky? The bangs were straight out of the WWE, and the guy was warned. That's with the bull. You'll get the horns. There it is. Hockey players are the best. The guy in the purple shirt was like, yeah, this isn't good for us. No, his buddy was lucky he didn't get his ass kicked too.
Yeah, I'm all for defending your friends, but in that situation, you can't get. I'm not getting in the middle of that one. Like, love you, mean it, but no shot.
He used like one arm on both times.
He was the definition of ragdolling
he like
someone.
grabbed him like this, and then when he hit him with one. He never used two hands at the same time.
There is a moment in that video where if you pause it perfectly, the gentleman who's getting tossed in the lake at one point before he gets tossed in the lake is completely horizontal. The guy ragdolls him so much so that he is completely horizontal before he hits the ground. He is just basically laying down in midair because he's being ragdolled so badly.
I just counted. He got knocked down 5 times. And then he rolled down the hill on a tree the last time. Oh, no, here he comes again.
Yeah, and he's adding like Batman comic book, like, noises as he's hitting him. Yeah, bam, bang.
It's always the talkers. You notice that? It's always the guys who have adrenaline going.
It's usually a little guy too.
No, but I can understand being like intimidated. Like, wow, this guy's real jacked up, man. Sometimes you better know who you're talking to. That's all I'm saying. But this is a lesson.
Don't get in a fight on a golf course in Canada.
Yes.
Don't do that. Don't do that. The odds are against you, especially in the summer. Hockey players got nothing else to do. They're golfing.
That's great advice, guys. I just couldn't. It's all when I saw the video though. I just
How do you think that guy's day's going today?
Oh, he's got to be like, first off, you were a drunk jerk. Second of all, you got your ass kicked. Third, are you going to say, oh, if he wasn't a hockey player, I would have kicked his ass? No, dude, you couldn't stand up straight. His buddy was even pulled.
He was like one of those, like, you know, clowns that you like punch over and it keeps bouncing back up at you.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like.
No, you know what it is sometimes in those moments, your adrenaline's so big, you don't even realize you're getting your ass kicked. You just like keep getting up because you don't know what to do. Now, I think if I threw one of my friends in the George Wright Pond growing up, that would have been bad. Never happened. But like if I tossed a dude in the pond, oh boy.
I've seen clubs get thrown in the pond before on the course. I've never seen a gentleman be tossed in the pond before. I've never seen someone get tossed. You know what? Now that I think about it, I don't think we've ever gotten into fights. A lot of betting stuff, you know, who's going to have the longest drive this hole or something to that degree. But what do we got today? What's today? July 8th, huh? I haven't looked at any birthdays yet, so I'm kind of curious what we have today. I bet you we've missed a bunch of them over the last couple of days, too. But let's start it off with Wolfgang Puck. 76 years old today. How about Angelica Houston? 74. Oh, wow, the Addams family. Kevin Bacon. 67 years old today. Billy Crudup. 57 years. Lean Robertson. 52. Oh, Milo Ventimiglia, the guy from their, what was that show that everyone cried about? The Gilmore Girls.
No.
This Is Us.
This Is Us.
Yeah, I only know that because I'm on the same page as you are, and it says that.
Oh, This Is Us is, that was a sad one, Skess. They know how to mess with you. Trey, you ever watch This Is Us? Nope. Okay. Sophia Bush, 43 years old. Maya Hawke, 27. Jaden Smith, that's Will Smith's kid.
And Maya Hawke is Ethan Hawke's daughter, I believe.
Whoa.
I believe.
Rockefeller. This is Toby Keith. Rest in peace. Anything else?
Some soccer ones with Messi on the way. Virgil van Dijk's birthday. One of the best Dutch players ever. Son's birthday from Tottenham there. Heung-min Son. Great player. Not seeing a ton else, Joe. Billy Crudup. I don't know if you said that one.
Yeah. What's your favorite Kevin Bacon movie?
Oof. Is it a cop-out to say, it's that rom-com with Steve Carell and Ryan Gosling. He plays the wife's new boyfriend. That movie's very funny.
Okay. Mine was Sleepers, but it's not the most... Sleepers, great movie, just the content isn't the greatest. But prosecutor for
he was, Jack Nicholson's buddy there. Animal House, the classic.
So, yeah, he's the cop in Animal House. Stir of Echoes. I don't know if you ever saw that one. He lived in a house that was haunted.
Like Apollo 13.
Oh, he was great. Well, he was the one who got to go because Gary Sinise, remember they said he had the measles, or he had a chance for the measles? But it's funny because wasn't there was like some sort of crossover between Forrest Gump and that movie that I'm trying to remember right now. But it was Gary Sinise related.
Lieutenant Dan related?
Yeah, I think he said, and I'll fly to the moon or something like that.
Gary Sinise, one of like the all-time good guys too.
Great actor.
Like an unbelievably good guy, I've heard.
It was funny. He was at the I had family that just went to the Houston the NASA.
You gotcha, yes.
And Gary Sinise was one of the speakers there. That'd be cool. Lieutenant Dan, you have legs.
Yeah, I think he has like the Lieutenant Dan band, and he like does a lot of charity work and stuff like that.
Sometimes on New Year's, I love the meme of Lieutenant Dan.
Where he's just sitting at the bar with all the confetti around him.
Lieutenant Dan.
Crazy Stupid Love was the movie I was saying. Have you ever seen that, Joe?
I have.
I think that's I'm not the biggest rom-com guy, but that's a good one.
Kevin Bacon's doing a movie. It's pretty. What about Footloose? Oh, no, what was he in?
Footloose.
Was he in Footloose? Yeah, he was in Footloose.
Tremors. I think did you say that? Yeah.
Uh-huh. Have you found Jesus yet? I didn't know I should be looking for him. Forrest Gump. Have you seen Forrest Gump, Trey? Oh my God. So you know that Milliken told me that he never saw The Sandlot? Did you know on July 5th, I watched the entire Sandlot? And I thought about the night game with the fireworks going and playing baseball over it. And dude, we did that as kids.
There's a lot of things about Milliken that shock me. That's got to be up there.
He's never seen any of the baseball movies.
I thought he liked Moneyball or something like that.
He likes Moneyball.
That's the one.
Yeah, but do you consider that?
It's not a baseball movie.
Do you consider that like a baseball?
No, it's a math movie. It's a nerd movie.
Well, it's a movie with a bunch of actors that portray a true story. But was it all true? Major League is like you gotta have at least seen that.
Field of Dreams was on the 4th. I watched a little bit of that.
God. And the thing is like Bull Durham, right? Just knowing about minor league life, it's so good. The Natural.
Another great Kevin Bacon movie from my childhood, Joe, was Balto. I believe Kevin Bacon played Balto in the movie. Great kids movie. It honestly might stink, but I remember it being good.
Hollow Man. That was another one I remember. I'm not even looking these up. You know, I tweeted out the I did that little soliloquy about the Red Sox winning, and I posted it. And people think, oh well, they just won against another terrible team.
Can only beat who's in front of you, Joe.
Hey, did you know Ceddanne Rafaela played in the Little League World Series?
I did. I've seen the picture going viral.
Flips and the.
Oh yeah, I've seen those. I love that.
I need more of that.
Him and Veritek was a Little League World Series guy. I feel like there's been a couple of them. Jason Veritek won the Little League World Series, the College World Series, and the World Series. Got to be a very short list of guys who have done that.
Very, very, very. All right. Well, we'll re-rack that. We're just going to re-rack. And again, guys, we're here till 11 o'clock. The phone number, 617-779-0985. We'll talk to you after this.
You're listening to Joe Murray.
right, back here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. The Red Sox won big, everybody. I already got people crapping all over them. They're just beating crappy teams and bad hitting. Yeah. Hey, Von Grissom went 4 for 4 today at Worcester. Remember him?
The Chris Sale guy, right?
That's the guy traded for Chris Sale. Tonight, after the game, Brian Bayo says, I've always wanted to pitch a complete game. It's funny to hear in 2025, right? I've always wanted to pitch a complete game. Tell that to Nolan Ryan.
I believe that was the 21st complete game of this MLB season.
Really?
More than I would have thought.
Okay. Do you think Nolan Ryan had more over or under 21 and a half?
Over.
Complete in a season? I bet you he had losses, right?
Oh, in a season? I'm going to still say yes.
Most complete games in a season. Okay, Will.
I got Nolan Ryan's.
What's Nolan Ryan's?
Nolan Ryan's most complete games in one season was 26.
What?
And he did it twice, Joe. Also the most overrated pitcher of all time, but that's a side topic.
Oh, what?
How many Cy Youngs did he win, Joe?
I don't know.
0. Yeah, just.
Hey, listen. Listen. Did you watch Nolan Ryan pitch?
No, I just think that's a great thing that this guy that I've heard about my entire life never won the Cy Young.
Just so you know, when I was giving my 1975 Red Sox were all losers take, I did drag Bill Parcells into it. Just so you know.
Good.
I said we celebrate losers, and Skaz has beat it into me now.
Yeah. Nolan Ryan probably won some things. So World Series champ, I don't know.
Nolan Ryan has like the most strikeouts of all time, doesn't he?
Well, yeah, you pitched for 40 years. You should. He's the Brett Favre of baseball.
Nolan Ryan was good. Come on.
How many Cy Youngs?
Yeah, but how many did it matter?
11-time strikeout. No, he was great. 2-time ERA leader. A great pitcher. I just think that's a funny stat.
Nolan Ryan, overrated.
7 career no-hitters. No Cy Youngs.
Oh, wait a second. You mean to tell me that isn't a good stat? You don't want to flex on 7?
Only 98% of the first ballot. You got to bump that up a little bit.
Only 98%.
You got to get 100, you know?
Yeah. You got guys getting in at 74% right now. Anyways. Well, what are we doing? Movies? Pizza? That's literally all it says on the call screen. All right, let's go longest order. Let's talk to Bus and Natick. Bus.
Joe, it's good to hear you at the nighttime. I love hearing you from 2 to 6, but I think you belong to the creatures of the night.
I agree. I'll be on tomorrow 2 to 6, though.
I'm looking forward to it. I love listening to you at work.
Felger.
Even more enjoyable.
Yeah.
So I'm just coming home from darts tonight. I played at a spot. They serve pizza. Bunch of mayonnaise packets on the table. Mayo ketchup combo. I put mayonnaise on my pizza tonight. Have you ever tried that? Plain cheese.
Have I tried it? I can't remember outgoingly doing it, but I think I've dipped some mayo before. Yeah.
So I'm a big blue cheese guy. I love the buffalo chicken pizza, buffalo chicken calzone. I saw the packet staring at me. I added it to the pizza with a little bit of ketchup. That creamy, extra creamy layer with the sweet of that tomato, unbelievable. If you are ever dabbling, you see mayo, you see ketchup, got a plain cheese looking at you in the face, please try it. It is unbelievable.
Do you still live in Natick?
Unfortunately, I do not, but Natick is, my family's lived in Natick since 1940.
Okay, all right. So, I know Natick well, but is the Pizza Peddler still out there?
Pizza Peddler, dude. You get a buff chick wrap. They got some good plain cheese also. Another place in Natick, Pizza by Rocco. Very good.
Okay, all right. I used to go to Pizza Plus, was it, downtown?
So the first apartment I lived in with my wife, my girlfriend at the time, we lived directly across from Pizza Plus. So anytime I come
downtown, baby, you were near Casey's Hot Dogs whenever you wanted.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm a regular at Casey's. Get it all around with a little celery salt on it. They got an expanded menu. They got chicken fingers. They got French fries, milkshakes. Oh my God, Casey's Diner, please.
They're great hot dogs, but they got a damn good burger too.
Yeah, absolutely. You want it a little bit red, a little rare. I mean, a little bloody. We get it McDonald's style. You get those onions cooked into it. Bang, a little mayo, a little ketchup, a little mustard.
I used to do Agostino's. Is that still going strong?
Oh, Aggies, man. My company, we actually service the trash at Aggies, and I always swing back by when I visit my mother. I get that chicken parm. You got to get the bread on the side. They have the beautiful, beautiful Italian bread, very thick cut. And I'll order antipasta salad, extra dressing, drench it in the dressing, and then you use that bread to dip. You don't leave that. You leave that bowl clean, nice and clean afterwards. Oh my goodness, a little butter on it. Boom.
Well, thanks for catching up on Natick with me. I haven't been over there in a while.
Joe, you got to make it out, brother.
All right, but hey, what's that sub joint in Wellesley? That's really good there.
They got the beef down there. I think it's called Nick's in Wellesley Lower Falls. They're actually well known for the beef. I think that's what you're talking about. But they do a North Shore beef, a North Shore style beef. Unreal, unbelievable. Lower Falls, Wellesley, Newton line.
Who would ever thought you could get a? I'm thinking of the Linden. I'm thinking of the Linden.
Linden store. Yeah, no, the Linden store. It's owned by brothers, and everything is fresh cut. It's like Jersey Mike stole that style from them because they cut all the meat fresh, and everything is beautiful. You get a hot Italian. Oh my goodness, man! Not toasted. They don't toast anything. Fresh bread is really what makes it.
Mm-hmm. All right, Bus. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate
Joe, thank you, brother, for your service.
All right, thank you for your service, too. I work in waste management. So he's telling me that he did ketchup and mayo, mixed it together and put it on pizza, which I think I'd do. I think I'd do that.
Mayo on pizza, Joe?
No, but mayo and ketchup, like combined, like a Chipotle, like you know how you bar? No,
I'm out on ketchup on pizza, I think, and mayo on pizza. Me and Trey are both out. If you're looking to Trey for reassurance, you're not getting it. You're not getting. I saw you look over. Not happening.
I've done it, but I don't want to do it. I prefer.
I don't. Well, no one's forcing you to do it, Joe. No one's holding you at gunpoint to put mayo.
Saw it. He saw the packets and he just couldn't help himself, and that happens to me too.
So you're at a restaurant, you see a condiment, you're like,
No, but I will tell you this. All right, Papagino's, shout out. Okay, hey Papagino's, I love you. You're the best. You make the best Caesar dressing I've ever had, even though I don't eat salad. But I'm telling you, if you got Caesar dressing from Papagino's and dipped breadsticks in there, or your crusts, I'm telling you, it's life-changing. Like, when do you talk about life-changing stuff? Bill is in Beverly. Bill?
Hey, how you doing? I'm calling about the Kevin Bacon movies. Favorite one, Tremors. Great watch.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's your favorite? Do you have any others you like from Kevin Bacon?
No, you said A Good Few Men is good. But, I mean, he's such a versatile actor. You got all kinds of good stuff there.
6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Going.
What's your favorite movie of all time?
Snatch.
Ooh, I like Snatch.
I go Guy Ritchie. He makes a great, phenomenal movies. All of them. Love them.
Yeah, he did the, what was the other one that I saw? The Inglourious Bastards?
Inglourious Bastards. Brad Pitt's perfect in there.
Yeah.
Inglourious Bastards is not a Guy Ritchie movie.
Oh, it's not a Guy. I thought it was a Guy Ritchie movie. No.
No. That's Quentin Tarantino.
Oh, Tarantino.
You know, right. Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yep.
You got Gentleman with McConaughey.
Ah, all right.
Exactly.
I don't know why I mixed that up. That it was Guy Ritchie. I don't know why I thought that.
There's a Guy Ritchie movie that is, I won't call it a good movie, but it's a perfect plane movie because I happen to watch it on a plane, and it's stupid action for like 2 straight hours. It's called The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Not a good movie, but if you're ever on a plane for 2 hours, it's great to pass the time.
Great, but Henry Cavill carries that movie.
Yeah, him and the giant guy from Reacher are pretty good in that movie.
Yeah.
Hey, where do I go for a lobster roll in Beverly?
Joe's on a roll.
Yeah, I love that spot.
Right off of Rantoul Street. Great stuff. Fresh. Always fresh.
$20 for a roll, bag of chips, and a can of soda.
You can't beat it these days.
Literally one of the best deals going. All right, Bill. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you.
No worries, man. Carry on.
All right, carry on. Joe's on a roll.
Sounds like a segment.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty accurate. I believe the husband started it, passed away, the wife took over. It's a little shack. It kills it, dude. I'm telling you. Scats, $20 for a lobster roll? Like, where can you go? Speaking of lobster rolls, Sarko is joining us on the line. What up, Sarko?
Oh, my God, man. You put me right on the spot. Because I talked about lobster rolls the last time I called in, right?
The big kahuna, baby.
I got you, Joe. Hey, what's up, Joe? How you doing, brother?
I'm great, man.
I'm in much better spirits and a little bit better now. Skaz, my man. I got to call you out.
Sarko,
How you doing?
I'm doing good, Sarko. How you doing?
Oh, okay. I'm feeling much better. Obviously, you could tell, right? This is the way I like to call in, man. How you guys doing, man? I'm just like, and you say lobster rolls. Like, wow, I got to check out that spot. I really have to check out that spot now, Joe. Now that you mentioned it, Joe.
How was your
okay?
fourth,
And I asked you about places. So now you mentioned this place, and I heard it. Okay.
What'd you do for the fourth, bro?
Oh man, like, well, for the fourth, we was all here at the house, and it was a full pack capacity, like everybody from Florida and from different places. It's like
you a fireworks guy?
House. Oh, of course I did.
I knew you'd be doing something on the street.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I do it every year, man. and they roll by, and then you know what I'm saying, and they kind of check out. Like I know this guy Ryan, right? It's like he say he's from Malden, and he does the pyrotechnics. He does, right? And I try, like, the only time, and Skaz can even tell you, I've barely been on the chat. Barely. I only said what's up one time to Skaz, and I said something to Ryan. I was like, I never met you. It was really funny all these years. I never met you. He was just like, oh, yeah, we haven't. And I'm like, okay, good. All right, cool, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to, like, build something, see something. Nothing. But anyways, did fireworks. It was a great job. What'd you do, Joe? What'd you do?
I went to Gloucester, Massachusetts.
Oh my God! Yes, I love Gloucester. I love Gloucester.
I got fried clams, and I got.
Oh yeah, it's the freshest ever. It's the best.
It was good.
It's the best because it's like right off the ocean. It's like, you know what I mean. It's like even when you go by it, it's like everything is the freshest. It's great. But I just want to tell you, you know what? I was gonna start a whole free Joe, like. You know what I'm saying? Free Joe.
You missed me at night, right?
Yeah, I'm like, I need Joe back on ice. You get me? I'm like, I need Joe back on ice, man. I'm like, yo, I can't take this no more. I can't take it, right? So I was about to start that movement, the Free Joe.
Well, I'll tell you this
You
much.
know what I'm saying? I was like, it was like playing musical chairs.
First
you know what I'm saying? Had you guys all over in different time slots and all over the place. I'm like, oh.
Well, get used to it. It's going to be, you got another couple of weeks to go here, but starting September 1st, it'll be myself and Skaz every night breaking down football.
Yeah, okay, brother. It's all good, man.
You believing in the Red Sox or what? You believe in them?
Listen, I know this whole Jared Duran, like, trading him type thing's going on. I don't know, but, like, that kid on the bases, like, seriously, even though he's, like, obviously running around like a chick with his head cut off, but if they could just control that, and he's got a good bat, it's not bad, but it's like there's something. Just get in there, I'm not saying like that. I think they're gonna win the championship. No, that's not what I'm saying. If they do, that'd be great, right? It'd be amazing. But what I'm saying is, it's just like at least, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's get some. You know what I'm saying? A little bit of fun going on, like, after the summertime, going into the fall. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Let's get some baseball. You know what I'm saying, bro?
I got you,
like,
bro.
I've missed it for so long. And remember, I told you I even did, like, the Nets and 360 practice. And I've been, like, trying to catch as many games as I can. with a closed caption on, like I told you before. Remember? I don't know if you remember, but yeah. But I'm serious.
I appreciate you, Sarko, my man. Thank you for checking in.
No, I appreciate you too, man. And Skaz, man, you my man, Skaz. I miss talking to you, bro. Like seriously, that Green Teamers podcast, I can't wait till we get some more. See, we need some more of that, that content.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting on that, all right?
Appreciate you, Sarko. Thank you, buddy. All right. Well, the caller is called. I put out the bad signal, and the caller's called. Sarko is happy, and I'm happy for Sarko. And I knew that Sarko was definitely in Malden shooting off fireworks. How did I know that? How did I know that he would be out there lighting up fireworks? I knew he would. Free Joe, I see in our chat right now. Maybe we could make that a sticker or a t-shirt, Skaz. Free Joe. I got a funny story about Street Team Joe if you want. Maybe I'll tell you off the air.
Oh, please. I miss Street Team Joe. I miss him. He was I texted him a little over the weekend.
I got a funny story.
He's one of my favorite people.
That's why I can't be mad at him for this one.
Oh, no. Did he? Oh, no.
Yeah.
I'm excited now.
It's you know what? I feel like anyone that's been associated with the show can't get their time or dates right.
With no context, I can already assume, Joe, it was an innocent mistake.
Very.
Of course, Street Team Joe makes no other mistakes. It had to be an innocent mistake.
He was very apologetic after.
Of course.
I laughed. Because what am I going to do? Get mad?
He's an impossible person to get mad at.
He did ask when he could come back in. Told him Fridays are great. Fridays are great. Come on in, hang out. Bring some food. If you're going to hang out, you got to bring food. I'm still waiting on Luke's mom. Where she got cookies?
Joe, she's already brought you cookies
Doesn't
once.
matter.
This poor woman is having demands thrown at her.
I hope she's listening. Cheesecake. We got to go to break. I'm Joe Murray on the Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines. Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox 10. Big Positive Sports, final segment of the night here, everybody. Let's get you just caught up on everything that's going on. First and foremost, I will be on with Felger tomorrow. I believe Big Jim is back. Anyways, I'm doing 2 to 6 tomorrow, and then I'll be back here on Thursday night. And then next week, I believe I have 2 nights. And then the following week, I have 2 nights. So I'll be here still. I'll just be, moving around a little bit. So, and then in August, we have football games. So I think the first 2 weeks are just as probably vacation time for people. And then I think the week of the 17th is the first preseason game. So that'll be there's only one night game, Skaz, that Thursday, I believe it's 17th.
What a shame.
And then there's a Friday nighter, I think.
Oh.
And then there's a Saturday at 1.
That one, move that to Friday night,
I wonder if they'll give me Sunday off for working Saturday. What else is going on? Oh, Lionel Messi tomorrow night, huh?
Oh, yeah.
A little dabble on that one? Anytime goal scorer? What do you think?
I mean, it's Messi, so I'm never going to say no. The Revs have been, pretty good defensively this year, not so much in recent games, but the only problem with Miami right now, not problem, but they've played a lot of soccer, Club World Cup, MLS, all that stuff. Tough for the Revs coming back from Portland, kind of a tough travel there, but you might have a chance to make a little. How many times can you say that you beat Messi? They didn't last year, so how many more chances they're going to get? Why not? Give the home crowd something to root for.
So Inter Miami posted a video on their Instagram story earlier, Messi among players at the airport boarding the flight. So at least that's an indication. But
I don't know.
If he doesn't travel, is he playing?
He's traveling. I don't know if you're going to get a full 90 out of him, but he's going to play.
In on that. So that's going on. Dude, I did a whole rundown for tonight's show and didn't get to everything. So let's just we did the Celtics stuff. We did the center by committee. I didn't even get into any of the Red Sox stuff that I wanted to do, but it's fine. We'll have to just do it another day. Do you think Alex Bregman will play before the All-Star game or at the All-Star game?
He already said he's not playing in the All-Star game. They've already replaced him.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, they've replaced him.
When did this happen?
He said it yesterday.
Oh, okay.
That he wasn't going to play, and the replacement came a few hours ago,
okay.
I believe.
Out then, never mind. Okay.
So he might play for the Sox before then, but I doubt it. I think you see him after the All-Star game, which I'm happy about. We mentioned last night you don't need another, was it Kyrie or Kemba that played in the All-Star game when they were banged up? You don't need another one of those situations.
Okay. Here's one I didn't get to, but maybe we can do on Thursday night. Where do you rank Drake May amongst quarterbacks in the NFL?
TBD. Too early to tell.
How about on Thursday you come up with a list?
I'll have a list for you, Joe.
I would appreciate that.
I got something for you for Thursday as well.
Oh.
Some on the offensive coordinators, Joe, we might dive into. A topic that I know is near and dear to you.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Maybe Pete's got himself a new offensive coordinator. Where does he rank?
Who? Masataka Yoshida.
Yes, let's go.
So then what happens when Bregman returns? To me, it's Hamilton. But does Marcelo Meyer need more playing time, dude? Is it okay if they have a taste of the majors and then go back down?
Meyer needs at-bats. I don't love sending him down, but he needs at-bats.
I don't love Hamilton, but in a way, I think he kind of fits as that maybe speed guy late.
He stinks, but yeah, he's a good pinch runner.
He's a better option for that than Meyer sitting on the bench.
Yes, absolutely. Meyer should not be sitting on the bench.
I guess that's what I mean is
I'm fine with David Hamilton sitting on the bench. Yes.
So that will be the next move. And, dude, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know. This is a good problem to have. I keep saying it. Duran's the guy. Imagine trading a guy with a 10-game hitting streak. Hey, this might be the high. Trevor Story? Would you keep him?
Joe, if I could trade him, I'd trade him, but I don't know who's taking him on.
Second best shortstop in Major League Baseball right now behind Ellie De La Cruz in home runs. Who would have thought? All right, well, let's get out of here, everybody. Trey, great job. Thank you, sir. Made our graphics, did our content videos today. Shout out to him. Skaz, welcome back. You'll be back tomorrow night. We'll pass each other in the hallway again. And I will be on with Felger and blank. I don't know who will be in tomorrow with me. So, till then, we'll talk to you guys tomorrow night at, well, I don't know who you're going to talk to. I'm Joe Murray. Talk to you then. Bye.